Totally hear from that.
We're live. Okay, well, welcome to Corn Fed with Dalton Pruitt. That's me. I'm Dalton, and on the network, I'm still on the Billionaire Podcast Network. Yes. Okay, so I don't know where Sal is, but hey folks, we're joined today by an artist. Uh,
Sorry,
Please, welcome to the program, Abbigale West. Hello, Abby.
Hey.
All right, welcome to the show. So you hit me up and you said, "Can I come on the show?" And I said, "Yes."
You did.
Yeah, so I guess there's two ways that if you want to be on this show, there's two ways to do it. You can subscribe to the Patreon and subscribe to the $25 tier, and then wait 3 months, and then you could be on the show once you get the decal. Or I guess you could just DM me and ask to come on the show.
Well, that was the thing that I reached out to you about yesterday, was that I didn't want to really as much as I'd love to have a sticker from you, I don't want you to have to put your own things into I'd just rather you have the all of it.
Right.
I was just gonna pay you outright. And I do follow one of your Patreons I'm subscribed to, the Crowder Boys.
Okay, well that's good. I mean, that's enough for me. Don't. I guess you're already here. I don't think I'm going to ask you to pay me anything.
No, so if anything, if I show you a piece of art or something, or you're on my Instagram now, if you see something that you're like, "Ooh, I want that,"
yeah. So yeah, you do art. So how'd that start? Did you go to art school?
I'm a junior in a second semester junior in my BFA, and had a baby a year ago, so that's put a lot of things on pause, specifically that. But never really went with the full intention of finishing it all. Just
you had a baby a year ago.
Mm-hmm. At Wednesday.
Is it yours?
Yeah, it's my baby.
Okay.
I just found him. I just found a whole white baby, bro.
You started, you're in your second semester of school now?
No, I have 3 semesters left to finish.
Oh, so you're actually quite further along than just 2 semesters.
Yeah.
So wait, is this a college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually go to Western Carolina University.
Western
North Carolina.
Western North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And you're what's your major?
My major is Bachelor's of Fine Art with a concentration in drawing and painting.
Okay. So how's that work? Because I remember first off, while you're in school, you have a baby?
I was pregnant. I was, I think, 7 months pregnant. My last semester I was attending.
That seems like that would exacerbate the stresses of school.
Well, art school.
It seems art school's not very stressful. School's already quite a bit to have on your plate, plus baby. But then I guess you're like a non-traditional student. You're not like 20,
no, I don't have books ever.
I know, but you didn't start, this isn't you didn't start going when you were 18 and now you're 20.
No. I'm almost 30.
Okay, so yeah, that's what when I was in college, that's what they always call non-traditional, just somebody who waited.
Yeah. I went for other stuff too, but that's the thing that I've always done.
Yeah, you're probably more mature and have the faculties and time and responsibility. You've cut out the drinking, and you're not going to you're not going to the parties that I was going to when I was 18. That's the reason I was failing my classes. So you get pregnant, it's this is probably still more conducive to my learning than drinking with strangers at a house.
Yeah, we still drink and have fun. My whole family's like partiers, so I mean, if I really have the need to go party, I
So
can
you
go
drank
show up
while
at
you were
my mom's
pregnant?
house. Huh?
You drank, so
No,
you
no,
drank while you
no,
were.
no, man.
I don't. Yeah, I guess you're not supposed to do that. I've known a few
No.
people. I've known a few people who drank while they were pregnant. They're relatives of mine, and I've known. I mean, but I've only ever met one person, a friend of mine, where that really affected him.
Mm-hmm.
Like his mom drank when she was pregnant, and he does have fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah,
So
you
his
can look
eyes
at
are too
somebody and
far
tell.
apart.
Yeah.
His eyes are too far apart. But other than that,
Mhm.
like pretty nice guy.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, my best friend's a meth baby, and she's like one of the like most smart, capable, like awesome people I know. Like,
Yeah, this guy's not like that. I think his dad just had a lot of money, but he hasn't really had a job ever.
yeah, that'll make anybody pretty. Well, no, actually, I'm not gonna finish that thought.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like having rich parents would be cool. Uh, so was it Western North Carolina University?
Western Carolina University.
Western Carolina, but it's in North Carolina.
Yes, it's in
So
Western North Carolina.
it's in Western. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
like about. What'd you say? Like the school's about an hour and a half south of Asheville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super close to Asheville.
Yeah, we're really well. Yeah, like when Helene hit, like we were bracing for the worst. We ended up getting hit by the eye of the storm.
I hear that's one of the better parts of a hurricane.
Yeah, yeah. It turns out it is because we were like, oh, what hurricane? And then like towns literally to the south and north of us got flooded.
Yeah. So have they repaired any? Because I heard some towns are just like gone now. Like a lot of the
Yeah,
people
Chimney Rock's gone. Burnsville. Our church that we like go to when we do attend church, they do have taken some convoys up there, like food, and they're still trying to do some stuff with them. But I just think that I don't know. They're just kind of not really. I've heard a lot of like not a whole lot's going on. Like I know they've got water back and stuff. My little sister's best friend lives in Asheville and works for a nursing home up there, and she was living at the nursing home for like the whole time that they were getting water and power and everything back. But they've got water and power and stuff now, and they're trying to connect the highways in and out. But they're saying that that's going to be like,
ooh, y'all are getting an In-N-Out burger.
yeah.
It's not that good. Have you ever had it?
It's not. No, we have Cookout here. It's way better.
Cookout's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, I was in Knoxville recently. I got a family in Knoxville,
Oh
Tennessee.
yeah. That's
that
not
was
far
like-
from us at all.
That was all we ate. We were like, let's have a family meal, which I thought was like, oh, my aunt's gonna cook us dinner, and then we just drove to Cookout.
Yeah, there's one down the road from my school, and it's always so good. Their milkshakes are amazing.
Yeah, and they have one of my favorite. They do one of my favorite things any restaurant can do, which is have the most insane menu I've ever seen.
It's so big. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah, for those that don't know, like if you've never been like in the southeast of America, there's a restaurant called Cookout that I the best as I could describe it is like the fast food version of like Cheesecake Factory. Like in the way that there's just everything on the menu. They just have like a smattering
I'm
of.
seeing the chat. Sorry.
Do what?
I'm just now seeing the chat.
Oh yeah, there is a chat.
I had a long one.
Yeah, I've been doing this. I don't know how long I've been like live streaming things, but it's like a delicate skill you have to develop to, glance at the chat but still be on the show.
Yeah,
and my
I just
co-host, my co-host Sal, when he actually shows up, he'll just get completely distracted by the chat and just like stare at it and stop paying attention to anything that's going on. And so I have to like tell him just close the chat out so we can actually do the show.
Yeah.
But I did get $10 from Robbie's third cousin. What's that dog's name? And once it's known, shout out to the dog from me. So what's the dog's name?
Her name is Ruby. Ruby to Doggy.
Shout out Ruby Dog.
She popped her little head up like me. She's an actual land whale. She's 6 years old this year in May.
What kind of dog is she? Is that a pug?
Yeah, she's a pug. She's a fawn pug.
Oh,
Ruby.
those are cute. Oh, look at it. Yeah. Does she have breathing problems?
Not too bad yet, but it's definitely not like what it used to be.
Yeah, I know that can affect. I guess any pure, because like when they say like a dog is purebred, really what they mean is it's inbred.
Yeah. She's like horribly inbred.
Yeah, and so it's similar to like people, like that X-Files episode Home, so that's like the dog version of that. Because my dog that just passed away was a purebred Shih Tzu, and he, so he was like one of those short-nosed inbred dogs, and he developed like a lot of hip issues and breathing problems, but he was cute, I think it's worth it for how cute they are.
Yeah,
cute little dog.
Just bugs with hair, long hair.
So wait, what was it? Cookout. Oh yeah, Cookout's cool.
Another one I miss really bad is Steak and Shake. Oh my gosh.
Really?
I lived in Atlanta for years, and that was, oh my God. I lived in Sandy Springs, and I just every day pretty much.
Are you extremely online? Have you seen the current Steak and Shake marketing campaign that's happening on the internet right now?
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah, so Steak and Shake has had this like viral moment online for the last few weeks because RFK Jr., the Kennedy that's I guess going to make us healthy now.
Yeah,
it's like him in this ongoing diet trend for the last few years, like this fear of seed oils. Like all these guys are talking about. Yeah, all these guys have been talking about how, back in the day, they make it sound like at some point fast food was like good for you because they say that like French fries used to be fried in beef tallow, and now it's all they're all fried in seed oils, and so that's why we got to get the fast food places back to the tallow so that McDonald's is not making you fat anymore. Like it seems like they seem to talk, the way they talk about it makes it sound like it would otherwise be healthy were it not for the oil that they use. And I guess there's a flavor component to it. So Steak and Shake is like the first restaurant to go like full steam ahead on this tallow thing. So now they're saying that they're now frying all their fries in beef tallow, and their whole marketing campaign, I don't know how to describe like what they're doing because they're posting about Steak and Shake in a similar fashion to like a Leni Riefenstahl like Third Reich propaganda film. Like the lettering that they're using, like in the artwork and all of it, looks like retro futuristic Nazi propaganda. So it's like it's like imagine like an AI vision of a Silverstream sort of looking future Steak and Shake on Mars, but with like SS lettering that just like says beef tallow.
Fractor font.
Yeah.
Old band Nazi font.
Yeah, like the old English Nazi font. Yeah, and so they're just posting constantly about beef tallow. And so now it's like everybody's talking about Steak and Shake again, except most of them went out of business anyway. So
yeah, I don't think that one stayed in business even while I was living down there. I don't think it's open anymore.
Yeah, and so they made and I think they're selling hats that say like make your fries in beef tallow again. It's like a MAGA hat. But I don't know. That's how what anyone knows a Steak and Shake. Now I ate there a few times. They had them in Texas when I was growing up, and I always thought the shake was good. I was never too fond of the steak though.
I loved their fries. I liked that you could get those Cajun fries, and they had a burger that I really liked that was like fried onions and barbecue sauce.
That sounds good. Okay, maybe they were good. I don't know.
And they had the shoestring fries that are so good.
You can get Cajun fries at Popeyes. That's one of the undersown sides at Popeyes.
Good.
Popeyes is good, yeah. It's good everywhere. Like I've been to like in New York, like all the Popeyes are good, and they're always packed, and it's always kind of like a dicey, it's a dicey going out to eat experience if you go to a Popeyes in Brooklyn. But then I'm trying to think because I was in New Orleans one time, and I was just like, I don't know. I guess I thought like, I wonder if the Popeyes in New Orleans are any better. And I wouldn't say it's any better, but it's still so good that I was happy that I was just like, you know what, I don't hate this.
Culver's is good too. They just
Culver's is good, but nobody really talks about the Popeyes The Cajun fries at Popeyes are good. I usually get 2 sides, Cajun fries and red beans and rice. I guess Michael says you look like Harry Potter. Harry Potter no, he's not saying you look like. Oh no, he's just making a pun. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
This is a good one.
I like that.
That's a good one.
I thought he was commenting on your glasses. I guess it could also be that.
I just need these to see.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say anything about anyone's glasses. That he said that. So, Abby, wait. So hold on, you're in school. You're studying art in school. Now how's that? I always wanted to know how that works because when I was in college, I went to University of North Texas, so it's similar to West Carolina except it's in North Texas. And I was a science major and then an English major. Cool. Yeah, so I never did like art like you're talking about. All my stuff was just like writing an essay like 2 hours before class started. But I remember when I was going to college, I would see people, scurrying across campus. Presumably art majors carrying big ass, I don't know, like I guess canvases with them. They were always bored. It always looked like they were working on a poster board of some kind. So like, is that like when you go to college for like an art thing? Like, what is it? What do you say is a concentration in drawing and painting?
Yeah. So those that'll make up the bulk of my. I think it's 100 and no, not 100. It's like 25 hours of my concentration. So there's a Bachelor of Arts that you can get, which is just a general art major, but I'm a Bachelor of Fine Art. So I had to submit a portfolio to be approved by the art department.
Did you have to draw that turtle?
Oh, the old man guy with glasses on that you draw upside down?
Yeah, remember if you could draw, it was like a thing where if you could draw a turtle, you were an artist. It was like a thing on TV. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about, but there's this thing that you have to do. I did it in, I think, my first painting class, actually, where you have to draw this guy upside down. And it kind of like, it's like an exercise to unplug your brain and like not look too closely at like details of things if you're trying to draw from a reference.
Oh, no, that sounds way more difficult. I could never even do the turtle. No, there was a thing back in the day where it was like I can't remember what it was for. It was like if you could draw this, it was like a little cartoon turtle and submit it, you would get, I don't know what the prize was. Maybe you got accepted to some school. I can't remember. But it was like it was a thing on TV. So Bachelor of Fine Arts. So that's like the one. That's the one you gotta like not, I guess not compete for, but it's more of a.
It's more of a juried selection of students.
Okay, so you have to prove yourself to get
Oh
into it.
yeah, you have to submit a portfolio. I think it was 10 to 15 pieces that you have done since you've been in school. So it's only work that you could have made while you were at the school being in that major.
Okay, so wait, so that's how, so you apply to go to college, you get in, you got your core curriculum, and then you're taking a few art classes. And so like in those first couple of years, you draw a turtle, you draw a sailboat, you draw a dog. You get it in those, like, I guess like the first couple of years of classes, you draw some things, and then when it's time to pick a concentration is when like you can submit a portfolio to then become a BFA mate, like a.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and there's other concentrations too. Like for a while before I found out that I hate my ceramics teachers, I wanted to do ceramics, and I did do ceramics for a while. I had a wheel for up until just a couple of months ago when I started doing stained glass, and wanted to just have more funds for that. So I sold my wheel to a teacher actually in the area. I gave her a little money off for it too, since she was using it for her classroom. But uh, yeah, it's like drawing and painting, ceramics, sculpture, and I can't think of any more off the top of my head. Print? No, not printmaking. I don't think they go very far into printmaking.
Crayon, finger painting, macaroni art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have an eye or ability for like visual arts. I mean, I appreciate them. Like I will go to an art museum and be like, damn, I don't know how they think of this. And that, that's like my relationship was I don't know anything about it. So but I do. I guess I have like the. I don't know. I guess I'm like Frasier, where it's like I can appreciate all these things, but what I'm really good at is uh, psychology.
Somebody did just say in chat, nude model class. That was a class that I took in my last semester that I was attending before I had my son. Yeah, it was interesting.
What is it? Drew gave me $9.99. Ruby Dog Cast. Get Ruby Dog back on now. Ruby greater than Abby. I think they like the dog more than you. Shout out Hog Lives Matter.
I have a self-portrait that I did of me and her.
We don't get it.
Ooh. So okay, so you made it into your BFA.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have, so like when you go to class, is it like they just so what do they, I've always wondered, what do they assign you? Like, do they be like, you have a drawing due in 2 weeks?
Yeah. So I have one teacher who loves me, and she's so sweet, and I have to be more like rigid with myself in her class, because it's pretty much like she gives you these assignments, and then we have like a critique like twice in that semester, and then a big one at the end, like 2 smaller ones, and then like a big one of all of the pieces that you made that year. And I'm bad to just like procrastinate and then just like,
Yeah,
here's painting.
yeah, that's how I did everything. But
Yeah. It doesn't get any better doing something that like you're actually wanting to be there.
Right, yeah, like even things I don't know how many people have experienced like that feeling of something you really want for yourself. Like this is the thing you dream of,
Yeah.
and still putting it off, still just procrastinating and not doing any of the things you're supposed to do, and then being like, oh, I'm trying to make my dreams come true, and even this I couldn't make time for.
Yeah.
I decided to just scroll on my phone for 2 weeks, and now I gotta.
That's the worst. I do that so badly. I'm just always like.
Yeah, I do too. I'm trying to get back into books.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just reading The Wizard of Oz. My job has like a giant bookshelf of like a bunch of cool books and stuff, and they've got The Wizard of Oz. Been reading that. It's cool.
That's a good book. I
It is a good
think, man,
book.
I think I read that in elementary school. Like I remember reading it in some class when I was really young. Like we watched like I can't remember why like they were doing a whole Wizard of Oz lesson where like we had watched the movie and then we were reading the book, and the book was like so different from the movie. Like in the book, like in the book, the isn't it like the actual Emerald City is more like a psyop. It's not real.
So I've actually, this would be my first time reading through it, so I have
Oh
really.
shit! I'm sorry. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to
No,
spoil
you're
it for
good.
you.
It's like spoiling. Like one of my husband's friends told me one time because he was like, "Hey, you gotta be careful with spoilers with Naruto," and he's like, "Naruto has been out for 20, almost 30 years. Like, if at this point,
Oh
if you spoil it,
yeah.
that's all
So
you do."
in the actual book, like in the movie, um, in the movie when they get to the Emerald City, it's like this wonderful, majestic, amazing place. It's like made of emeralds. It's magical, right?
Right.
In the book, it's like it's more like M Night Shyamalan, The Village, or something else that's like that, where like the actual Emerald City, all of the inhabitants are made by the I guess the Stasi of the
Mhm.
Emerald City, like the oppressive Emerald City regime makes everybody wear a pair of glasses that have an emerald filter on them so that it appears as though it is an Emerald City, but the reality is it's just it's nothing. It's much more drab and decaying than it appears without with the glasses. So it's like
Mhm.
the whole of Emerald City is just is a psyop in the book, and then I guess there's like I don't know what that's actually saying literarily. Like, what's the metaphor there? What's the commentary? But I thought that was like a neat thing in the book that's not in the movie. Is that
No, I
the
didn't know
inhabitants of
that.
Emerald City are being manipulated and gaslit into believing that the Emerald City is real when it's
Mhm.
actually false.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like getting into that kind of like animal farmish type
Yeah,
territory.
yeah, it's like similar to like and like the those kinds of books, I guess, that were being published around
Mhm.
like in those times when there was this
Mhm.
fear of like I don't know totalitarian regimes, um, which I guess like yeah, the Wizard of Oz might actually be more apropos of like now times than what like all these guys online are always talking about 1984, but like a city in which the inhabitants just put on a pair of glasses to lie to themselves to make it better than it is. I guess is what we do now. We just have a
Mhm.
bunch of like screens and distractions to just try and shut out how I guess like how much everything is deteriorating around us. Like the our I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally
Like
get it.
you know what I mean? It feels like it's get like I mean maybe this is just becoming an adult. Like life is getting very difficult, and the price of everything's going up, and it feels like the quality of everything is going down. And so it's like, but I have TikTok, I have Apple TV Plus, I got all these neat little things, screens I can look at to make everything feel better, and that's the Wizard of Oz. So so you see, this is what I did in college as an English major was
Yeah,
read
no, it's
books.
like being that like right brain person, and you were talking about doing the English and science. Those were like, aside from like art, English and science were like the only two until it got into like high school, and it was like math started getting involved. So I'm not good at math.
I wasn't good at it either, and I'm about to ban this guy. Pat DeRose says for real, Dalton's bombing. LOL, where's Robbie? I'm not bombing. This is my channel. I'm not bombing, and this is not a stand-up set, nor Nor is this anything. This is the conversation between myself and Abby here, Abby the artist. And again, Abby, thank you for coming on. Real quick,
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're not going to be done anytime soon. I just want to say thanks again. And real quick,
thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. So awesome of you to do that for me.
Do you have any plugs you want to do real quick?
Just my Instagram is also my business name. I don't have an Etsy or anything. If you like have any type of like specialty thing you want me to do, if it's glass, may or may not turn out very great, but drawing, painting, jewelry, stuff like that. It's Pastel Mountains Art at pastel.mountains MTNS art on Instagram.
Okay, Pastel Mountains Art on Instagram. But you don't have a store. You don't have anything to sell.
I mean, everything I have is for sale all the time. I'll post on Instagram.
You hit me up and you were like, "I want to come on the show and talk about being I can tell people I'm an artist." But it's very funny to find out you don't. You don't tell people you do art. You don't have a store.
I did Etsy for a while. I would just like to find a better platform to sell on, or like maybe get like a website of my own, like started actually. That's just not really my forte.
Right. Yeah. Typically, and that's something I've experienced is that like the creative mind is lacking in the business side of it, the business side of things. Because like I can, I can do whatever podcast and write jokes and try and do creative things all day long, but then like the thought of building like a store, I'm just like, man, I do not know how or nor do I want to do that shit. But that's how that's the intersection of art and commerce. You gotta have, I guess you got to do those things. But I'm an artist though. But you're like a real artist.
I like to think so sometimes, but like my personal style is much different than like my capabilities in traditional art. Because like traditional, like charcoal, graphite, I can get like pretty realistic, but realism is so far out of my like actual like what I enjoy doing.
What do you enjoy doing?
I actually have some pieces over here that I've been working. Some of these aren't finished either. That's also the curse of being an artist.
Yeah, let's see some art.
These are all from this year. Or like pretty near it, or like the end of last year. Like this one is some native plants in our area. This is a deerberry and a rhododendron.
That looks good. I like that. You said it's called a deerberry?
Deerberry, like fawn deer, like a deer.
Yeah, like a hoofed animal.
The mystical creature of the east, the southeast.
Yeah, from the Fantastic Beasts movies. Okay, and then this is another floral. So what are these?
These are just like I guess these would be like dog, like kind of like a dogwoodish type berry.
Yeah, this reminds me of like when I was a kid and my mom was like, "Don't eat those."
The mulberries or whatever they are.
Yeah, just like trying to eat like mystery berries when you're a kid, and then an adult has to say, "Don't do that."
Don't do that.
Yeah.
This is one I did last fall for sure.
Ooh, now that's good.
And I did like that one the really sides pops. And everything. And it's got like a gold line work on it. If it'll pick up on you can see it a little bit.
Oh yeah, like on the edges of a Bible.
Yeah. Which drives me crazy, by the way, because the pages always stick together, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. One time when I was in college, me and my friends had procured some marijuana, and we didn't have anything to smoke it with. And I remember that thing that people always say where you could use a Bible page. Mm-hmm. So we ripped a page out of the Bible, like one of the like blank pages, and rolled a really bad joint and smoked it. But we smoked it with the gold trim, and so we all got really sick.
Oh, is that like toxic?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Oh shit!
It was really bad.
Big guns, dude.
Yeah, they're trying to get you. It's
This is one that's not finished. I've got just a little bit of touching up to do on it. This is a
This is
flame
sun.
azalea, which is actually the flower of the town that my husband grew up in. And this is a mountain laurel.
Okay.
Or not mountain laurel. It's a...
Oh, that's good.
No, this one.
Yeah, these really pop.
I think it is mountain laurel. I can't remember.
And so, what do you use to make these? Is it like paint?
These are acrylic on. This is board, canvas board, and then some of these are stretched panels. These two are stretched panels.
So is that the same acrylic that like all my shirts and beanies and hoodies are made out of?
Yeah, it's a plastic. It's just got most of it's non-toxic. There are some pigments that are toxic, like cadmium, or not cadmium. The red tone that one of my teachers when I was pregnant.
I think I used to order a cadmium scone at a local coffee shop. I go in there and be like, let me get a cadmium.
They make the little
scone.
chocolate eggs. Cadmium.
Cad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They make the cream eggs. Yeah. It's Easter. It's Easter season. Easter's right around the corner, folks. Go get you a cadmium cream egg. Those are good.
My husband pulled out one of the biggest ceramic pieces I've ever done.
Oh, so now this is. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a man who is trapped inside the vase. He's cursed.
And it's like textured. The bottom looks like shit though.
So you gotta use like one of those like Patrick Swayze ghost machines to make that.
That one's actually hand built, so it's made out of little clay poops that you make.
Oh, you do like little. You do like when you do like Play-Doh. You rub your hands together and make little snakes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you do what's called throwing a slab. So you can pin roll like you would like making a pizza dough, and then you just take it and throw it like this, and that momentum slides the clay forward, and you end up with a like flat sheet of clay, and then you can cut it into whatever shape you need the bottom to be. This one was a circle, and then you just start putting your little clay poops on it and smoothing it out and mashing it together, and it makes a wall.
That's really cool. I like that. That's a vase, you would call that, or a pot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked really cool.
This is actually a face jug. This is, they were common in Appalachia during like slavery times when slaves weren't typically owners of mirrors, and they would make face jugs and like to show people what they looked like. And then a lot of the times they were also very minstrel.
Okay.
But that's where the inspiration came from it, because I grew up in Appalachia. I'm an Appalachian artist, so.
So where in Appalachia did you grow up?
I grew up in North Georgia.
Really?
I grew up an hour north of
Stone Mountain? Like Stone Mountain?
No, Stone Mountain's pretty far. I grew up in do you know where Blue Ridge, Georgia is?
No, all my family is from like southeast Georgia. Mm-hmm. So I was born in Vidalia.
Mm-hmm. I've been there. Yeah. My sister did swimming, and she made it to state one year, so we had to go to Tifton and stay, and then we go to Florida. So you always pass through there.
Yeah. So and I grew up most of my life in Texas.
It's where the onions come from.
Yes, Vidalia, the onions. Yes, I'm trying to think. Like all I know of North Georgia is like Stone Mountain. I think
Stone Mountain's still like.
Or is that still south?
Yeah, that's like getting over towards like I think it's over close towards like Decatur. Like Decatur's pretty close to Stone Mountain. I went to my first college was in Decatur, like
Okay.
East Atlanta-ish.
Okay. Because I'm trying to think. I guess I don't know them. So you're from Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Yeah, that area. I'm from the Blue Ridge Mountains in North
The
Georgia.
Blue Ridge Mountains in North Georgia, and that's Appalachia proper.
Hell
It's
yeah.
like the real Appalachia, yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to think how much time I've actually spent in the real Appalachia, because we moved around a little bit, and I remember we lived, one of the towns we lived in was a little town called Kingsport, Tennessee, which is right across the border of Virginia.
Okay.
So I remember like looking at the mount, like there was a mountain, and I was always told that like right across over in Virginia, like that next town was where people lived with like dirt floors.
Yeah, Virginia's incredibly poor. Both of the Virginias are very poor. Some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen, though. West
Yeah,
Virginia.
Appalachia is really pretty. It's like a really
Beautiful. I love living there.
majestic stretch of the country. It's just ignored. It's completely ignored by the country, and there's no money, and everybody's like poor and suffering and dying. Especially after the this hurricane. Like from what I understand, there's people still recovering, and then there's like towns that are just gone.
Yeah.
And then like the conversation everybody's having in regards to relief or the economy now is like people with SNAP benefits are buying soda, and so that's a problem.
Yeah, that's also leads to the lack of proper education and nutrition and schools and stuff like that. But there's also like you got into like the like being poor, and there's also like no, and a lot of places like where you get into bigger cities, there's public transportation. There's ways to get around outside of like having your own vehicle, and it takes a lot out of your own like being fed, having clean clothes and stuff like that to actually be able to get a car. And like,
right.
To do that, you have to have a job, but to have a job, you have to get a car. Like,
yes,
what's this cycle that, and it's not just exclusive to Appalachia. It's just the poor parts of America in general.
sure. Yeah, you have to maintain like a certain I guess like life above water in order to function, in order to like sustain yourself and survive. Because like if you ever really get knocked on your ass where you're like without a vehicle and like really struggling, you just lose access to pretty much every opportunity, like anything that could help you. So I guess like if you got entire towns of people who are, I don't know, maybe not the most educated and also don't have cars. Yeah, I guess like just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Vidalia, get your ass inside. That is a common phrase that is said in this house on a
get
very
your ass
frequent
inside.
basis. Something, get your ass inside.
Yeah. I always wonder. I've always wonder about that, like, because I feel like with most of what you hear in media, like the people you hear from, it's all like concentrated cities.
Mm-hmm.
So that like as far as like the news and conversations they're had, as far as like that goes, like the only places that really exist are like Los Angeles, New York, DC, Austin, and that's where you hear about like just that's America, right? But I feel like most of the country is just like places you've never heard of with no industry and really poor people.
Yeah.
And they just kind of get just cast aside in favor of a concentration of I get like well-to-do city folk, people who do nothing for a living and make six figures email
That's
jobs.
stuff that drives me crazy. It's like, what do you do? It's like my boss now is a software engineer, and it's like he runs our business, and it's like so far behind where it could be because he's just like software computers. He reminds
Right.
me so much of Elon Musk, but it's really like he's always busy, and it
Right.
feels like doing mostly nothing, like talking.
Yeah. I don't know I don't know what anyone does anymore. Like you know, like when I talk to people who actually do like actual labor, it feels like that's like real work, and they don't make that much money. And then but then when I talk to people who are like pretty well off, who have like really good jobs, it sounds like they open a laptop and answer a few emails, and then they pay, they make like $150,000 a year doing that.
Yeah. And
So
it's like
I
my
don't.
dad's a carpenter, and it really just depends on how good you are and the word of mouth that you're able to like procure. Because my dad's done pretty well being a carpenter. So it's very situationally dependent though. Like I know tons of carpenters that have been in my life growing up that have not ended up being as successful as my dad because their work's not good, or they just never put like the drive into it, or
Yeah.
they do crappy jobs and don't make up for it, and like take people's
Yeah.
money.
I have a really important carpenter in my life. His name is Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well,
Which um I try not to be too flippant about, because I was raised in the church, you know.
what sect like of Christianity were you raised in?
Sect.
Like Baptist,
I think they call it
Syrian,
denominations.
uh,
I think, well, when we um
Methodist.
I think it was like there was an attempt made by my parents for us to go to church, and I remember going, like, jumping around from like different Baptist churches,
Yeah.
like a lot of Baptist churches, and then eventually we found one of these, like, just like, everything's chill churches, where it's just
Yeah.
like, come one, come all, and it was like that was where I did most of my church and growing up, was going to one of those churches where like the first hour and a half was like a Christian rock music, or like, just like guys with guitars singing, not like hymns, but just like Jars of Clay
Yeah.
and those
Yeah.
kinds of songs.
I hate that shit. That
Yeah,
drives me crazy. It almost makes me want to show up to church 30 minutes late every day or every time we go,
yeah,
because
yeah. It's like
I don't want to listen to like Imagine Dragons Jesus
yeah,
music.
treating church like a concert, where it's like, well, we don't need to see the opener.
At least
Like,
they
we
put
could
the
just
lyrics up
show
on
up
a
for
big
the.
screen so you don't feel like you're being left out.
Yeah, well, at least the one I went to was not like a mega church. Um, and so it was like a small little room. Probably, there were pews, probably seated maybe tops 100 people.
Yeah, that's like just a good sized hometown church.
Yeah, and yeah, but it was like it was like very like community oriented. Like,
Mhm.
it was like a family that did all the gospels and hymn singing and preaching, all that.
Yeah.
So it was like the pastor was this fellow, Pastor Myers, and it was like his sons were playing the guitar before the sermon, doing the songs, and then his wife would host the potluck afterward. And so it was a nice, like, little community place, and I did grow up in it. And then I guess, like, and you're an art school student, so maybe you've had a similar experience where, like, you get to an age where you start questioning it, and then maybe even
Mhm.
like becoming, because I remember I went through my like Reddit atheist years, where I thought I was like, my Ricky Gervais uh years. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
when you start like questioning it, and then you kind of like decide that you don't believe in it anymore, and then you get really annoying about it. About being an
And
atheist.
you're like, I don't believe in God. Why would you ever think I would believe in God?
Yeah.
Stop
And then
saying that.
and then I think like as I've gotten spent more time as an adult and gotten older, I've like come back to it to some degree, to where I do have like respect for religion and the Bible. And so it's never something that I want to denigrate or be like too I don't know, like flippant about. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's why I really like the Gemstone show, because like the way he portrays even like a mega church in that show, you could tell that he has a lot of respect for the material.
what was that?
The righteous gemstones. Have you ever seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh, really? Oh, it's good.
Mhm.
It's a Danny McBride's show that he's been doing the last few years on HBO.
Oh,
So
okay.
he grew up in like similar part of the country, like Georgia, North Carolina, all that. So he grew up religious, and so the show is about like a mega church, like an Osteen, Baker,
Mhm.
Copeland style mega church. And so it's a show that's a bit like the comedy, the mishaps and hypocrisies and all that from within like a mega church like that. But it also pays a great deal of respect to like Christianity and the Bible itself. Like it is not like mocking religion.
It's like more mocking like the mega church type.
Yeah,
vibe.
it's more of just like a skewering of like those kinds of churches, like those like $1 billion televangelists kind of churches,
Yeah.
where it's obvious that it is, I guess, like sort of the the tension or the juxtaposition between people who claim to be Christian and want to be living a Christ-like existence, but then have also been very materialistic also.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good
Well,
show.
I'm
It's funny.
trying to like I feel like I'm still kind of in an in between where I'm not like vehemently like I don't believe in this. Why would you put that on me?
Yeah.
But to being like I still don't know. I'm just gonna see what the word has to say.
Yeah, I just have like accepted that like I'm stupid. Cosmically speaking,
Yeah. Yeah.
celestially speaking, like I don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't, yeah, and I guess of the things that the human race has figured out, I also don't know much about there also. So like of the knowledge that does exist, I also have like so little of that, and so who am I to say what is and isn't actually going on? So that's where I just am like, the Bible's cool. I like reading it. I don't know what's real, and so I'm not gonna like make a claim one way or the other. I certainly would never have the gumption to say that there is no God, but then also I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't. I don't like. I was always kind of more like agnostic. Like I don't know
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
But
I
there
don't know
was a time where
anything.
I was like, yeah, that's kind of just bullshit.
Yeah, the more I see, the less I know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like the more
You're
I
like,
learn, the more I realize like how little I actually know, like how I guess like I don't know if insignificance is the right word, but just like how little
I think it's
um
a good word for it, though.
how little information I have access to. I don't know anything. So it's like, that's where faith comes in, and just being
Mhm.
cool with like, I don't know, the mystery of it, and then just
Yeah.
having faith,
Yeah. And having words to like help you uphold some kind of faith, you know?
Right. Yeah. And we're getting way off the art school here. But, well, no, I just, and it's something I've like, I guess I haven't really reckoned with, because I try to push a lot of this stuff out or not think about it too much, but I guess I do need to contend with it at some point. But like, I went crazy for a while.
The brain
And-
accident.
yeah, I had a brain accident. And
Mhm.
the interesting thing is, like, when I was going through that episode, it was very like religion based. Like I was having a lot of these like very intense, very real feelings of like God and in the Bible and symbolism and all that. And I was like seeing biblical messaging and symbolism everywhere, and hearing voices. Like I don't know if I was hearing voices or thought I was receiving some like divine messaging or
Mhm.
what. Like I do remember like a very this like very real feeling that I was receiving some sort of like divine transmission, right? And so I've talked to other people that who have gone through a similar experience or know people who went through something like that, and that's like the commonality with everyone that goes through something like that. It seems like is there's this very like there's this like religious through line. Like everybody feels as though there's some divine thing happening to them, but could just be you're going crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I resonate with that. I've had a couple of brain accidents in my life too, so
Yeah,
yeah, you're in good company in that environment. I was actually in a mental institution with a guy who thought that he was like a prophet and stuff, and that was like his whole like he was having a psychological break.
yeah,
Is what he was having is that like biblical. He thought that he was like a prophet of Jesus, and like just was really good at reciting Bible scripture off the top of his head.
yeah, yeah. I got really obsessed with the Bible, and I was like reading it a lot. I was just spending a lot of time being crazy and just sitting there reading the Bible. And there are some parallels to actual prophets, like in Scripture, like where it's just like a guy, even before Jesus. There's like, isn't there like there's like a story of a guy who like sees Jesus in a fire or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I know that like in the Bible, you could make the claim that like a lot of the prophets in the Bible, um, there are like similarities between like those stories in nowadays, like when someone just goes nuts and they get locked up because it's a guy who thinks he's talking to God and needs to like proselytize to everyone the messages he's receiving. And I guess like in the Bible presents that as like that's a prophet. That's a guy who's going to lead people to salvation. But nowadays they're like, all right, we need to give you lithium and strap you to a cot for a couple days.
Maybe some electricity to your brain.
Oh yeah, did you do that? Did you do the
No,
okay.
fix me right up.
What did they give you?
Prozac.
Oh, Prozac. Oh, really? They just gave me lithium. They were like they told me SSRIs probably are what caused this or were one of the factors. So we gotta just stick you with lithium.
Well, it helped me at the time, but as an adult, I've actually been diagnosed with ADHD, and they knew that back then, but my dad didn't want to treat it. It was like a whole thing. He didn't want to put me on stimulants, so they just tried SSRIs, which is like not really the greatest thing that you can do to somebody's brain who has a norepinephrine uptake issue.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I don't really know much about SSRIs. They're probably not good. Like it'll probably be something that like because they've only been around since like the 80s, I think. And
I think so there's a book that I was requested to read. It's The Body Keeps the Score. If you've ever heard of it. Yeah. The doctor talks about the like widespread diagnosis and prescribing of Prozac for people with PTSD. and there's an excerpt in there where it's Eli something was their manufacturer, but I think it was the 80s.
Yeah, I think because I when I was in college, I actually I was an English major, so I had to take I took one of my for my concentration in creative writing, I had to take a class called literary analysis, and one of the it was a class where we only studied like it was 3 texts for the whole semester. So it was like it was like a book of poetry was the first thing, and then the second was a novel, and the third was a Shakespeare. And so for the novel that we read, it's this book. And there was a really shitty Netflix movie they did on this recently. It was this novel that came out in like '85 called White Noise by Don DeLillo. I don't know if you have you ever read any. Yeah, Don DeLillo is like one of the big like what they call postmodern authors, the guys who are I don't know. I don't know what it means, to be honest with you. But in the book, is this around the time, that antidepressants were starting to hit the market in a big way. So in the book, everybody is taking this new antidepressant that's like akin to Prozac called Dialar. And then by the third part of the book, the main character is experiencing like a full on psychotic break brought on by this medication, and then like what alleviates that for him is he's taken in by a convent of nuns. So it is like kind of mirrors in a way the experience I had, like going crazy and then like finding religion again, and then that bringing me some sort of comfort or like foundation. Because like even after all the crazy went away, and I was like, oh, I'm not actually talking to God, I still like kept reading the Bible and went to a few church sermons and all that. Like even now, I still will open up my Bible and read it.
Yeah. I'm reading through the Gospels right now. I started on Matthew.
Yeah. I just recently read through Matthew, and then I've just been like picking and choosing verses here and there, just bouncing back and forth through it. So I need to, if I'm going to read it, discipline myself more and actually read it.
Yeah. And my thing is like, I hate doing the cross references because half the time it's just saying the same thing like 4 or 5 times in like 4 different big chunk parts.
It's a very repetitive book. There's a lot of like passages where it'll be like they'll say something and then they'll say that thing again and they'll say it again in a different way and then repeat it. And I just think of it like the way I can handle that, where it doesn't just become distracting or drive me crazy, is just think of it like music, like how the way in which music is very repetitive, and that's actually like what makes it enjoyable. They say don't bore us, get to the chorus, for songs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's how I think about the repetition in the Bible. Is that
Yeah?
I think of it as like having a musical quality that's supposed to be like an earworm, like something that gets stuck in your head that you're like bopping around to. But it's I don't know about sacrificing lambs.
Yeah, this person just said, I think all the boring details in the Bible is like a bibliography sometimes, like it's their way of providing a source. That's exactly like, especially during the Gospels, a lot of times, like when you're reading Matthew, you'll have to jump to Mark and Luke and then like some part of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So
that's how it is to read that book, Infinite Jest. You ever read that?
What was it?
Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace.
No.
Oh, it's a really obnoxious, like I guess like the zeitgeist or whatever you call it, the what surrounds the book, the people that are into it, and the sort of reputation it's taken on is very annoying since it came out. It's a good book though. it's just like it's this very like thick, dense, difficult, long book to get through. But like as you're reading it, there's a end notes. So like you'll get to a page, and then like one of at the end of one of the words, you'll see like above it like a little number 1, and then number 2, and there's probably like over 200 of them. So as you're reading it, and you hit an end note, you have to like flip to the back of the book to read that end note to reference what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole time you're reading the book, you're going to flip back and forth to cross reference the end notes with what you're reading. And it's very tiresome and tedious at times. But then I guess if you finish the book, you get to tell people that you actually read it, which I did that.
It's like
When I
the
was like,
Bible.
yeah, when I was like
Read the whole
20, when I
thing.
was 22, I read it. Yeah, and see, Raphael gets it. I do like bringing it up because I did actually read it. Because it's
You
a
got
book
the bragging rights now, man. Bring it up.
yeah, it's a book that's notorious for like guys buying it or people buy it, and it's just one of those books that sits on the shelf that they never actually like read or they tried to read it.
How
But
long did it take you to read it?
6 months.
Is that like dedicated reading?
Yeah, because it's such a dense book that I was like, I was reading maybe at most I could get through like 10 pages a day. And so it was dedicated, but it was also just like what I was capable of actually reading and like being able to infinite ingest, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just so dense that like if I would just like kind of burn out, and then I didn't even know what I was reading after a certain number of pages, so I was only able to read at most maybe like 10, 15 pages a day. But yeah, so that's sort of. But he was kind of in a similar thing. He wasn't necessarily religious, but he was. Dave Foster Wallace was a guy who went to church.
Right. So like, what is it? I'm pulling. If you ever see me getting off of the main screen, I'm looking stuff up. What is it?
Well, it's actually one of the more prescient books of that. Of like somebody trying to write about like what the future is going to look like.
Yeah.
It was published in '97, and it takes place in some indescript, future from there.
Yeah.
And so it's a book about how in the time that the book takes place, the calendar has, rather than like our calendar where it's like 2002, 2003. It's been the time itself has become subsidized by corporations. So rather than AD in the year of our Lord, like whatever the year would be, it's like the year of the trial size Dove bar, or the year of the Tux medicated pad. It's like corporations will get a year each year, and then like there's been and then there's like due to the constant like looming threat of nuclear war, and then like the usage of actual nuclear weapons. There's like this zone. There's like this zone in the border like the border of the United States and Canada. There's like this zone that's like uninhabitable. I mean, I don't know. The U.S. is annexed part of Canada, and it's really the crux of the whole story is about like isolation due to technology and entertainment, which I guess like in that way he really did predict where we were headed. That like everybody would get like unfathomably lonely because of all of the just like toys and trinkets and gadgets and all that we would have access to that like separate us from each other. It's kind of what the book's about, I guess. I don't know.
It just had like a whole bunch. When I looked at on the Wikipedia, it was like everything.
Yeah, I mean, really, the plot of the book is it's like the same plot as The Ring. It's like there's a videotape that's getting passed around that, like, when you pop it in and watch it, it's so addicting, it's so entertaining that people will just put it on a loop and then waste away and watch it until they just die. Like they stop eating, stop drinking, and then their corpses are found just sitting in like piss and shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's about, really the book is about a videotape that kills you, I guess. So do you have any drawings due coming? Do you have any drawings?
I'm not in school right now. I was looking at going back in the fall, and I'm already like set up. Like I could sign up for classes as of the 20th, but I'm kind of having second thoughts because I'm probably not going to have any more children. So I'm probably just going to stay home with my son until he goes to school, pre-K.
Okay.
Because I work, but I work like part-time. I'm a barista.
Right. Well, I mean, I knew that because you said you were in art school.
That was a low blow, Dalton. Other than art, my real true love of like something that I can actually use as an applicable skill is making coffee.
Yeah, that has been me. Like as an English major, I've worked mostly service jobs. Like I've done the barista thing.
Did you really?
Yeah, I worked for a smaller chain, not quite a Starbucks, but still like a chain called Gregory's Coffee.
Okay.
And it was like one of the worst 6 months of my life until they fired me. Yeah, I learned everything. Like I had to go to like coffee school.
Yeah.
Like when they hired me, I had to go to like this intensive coffee training, and then I learned how to like dial in the espresso and grind it and do all the drinks and draw the leaves and flour. That's you know what? That is the one like visual art I guess I know how to do is if I steam some milk and pour it over a shot of espresso, I could draw like a leaf.
A Rosetta.
Yeah, a Rosetta.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been making coffee for 3 years now, and I can only do a Rosetta and a heart, and half the time a heart comes out looking like a dick.
Yeah. Well,
like,
really,
here, enjoy your beautiful latte.
In my experience, it really only works with lattes with actual milk. So, like all
Our
these
oat
other
milk has so much xanthan gum in it, I can foam it. It's like the thickest, grossest shit I've ever.
Yeah, you can't really do it with oat milk or any of the like. I always struggle with like the nut milks.
You just can't. It just.
Yeah, it just foams up too much. So like,
gets too big bubbles.
Yeah, but like actual milk or half and half.
Half and half is.
Half and half is perfect.
It's loud, but
half and half is half and half is one of the better drawing materials for coffee art. It's a cool job. It's a cool job. Like
I love it.
It is like the joke online is like, oh, you're in art school, so it has the barista work going for you. But
I haven't even put 2 and 2 together on that until just now. Like really.
Yeah. But it is like it's a job where I was like, if my manager was not a dickhead, and if this paid any better, if this actually paid me anything, I could see myself doing this for a while. Like I actually enjoyed the job. I just was like, this doesn't pay fucking any money, and my manager sucks. So, oh, did we lose you? Or no, you're back. Yeah.
Sorry, due to rural BFE internet.
Did you say doo-doo?
Doo-doo. Poo-poo doo-doo.
No, I was just saying, like, actually, I enjoyed being a barista. Like, I liked going to a place and talking to the people and making their drinks, and they wouldn't tip me. They never. People, I think people don't appreciate that you do have to know how to make those drinks.
Yeah, and it's like it's a lot to learn, but it's like riding a bike because I took a solid year off from my first coffee job to the one that I have now, and it was just like immediately just right back to it. And that's like another thing, like you were talking about, you hated your owners and your managers, and that's what made it shitty is like our community of like churchgoers and like my bosses are all like in the community of like our church, and like they're all super nice people. So like all of my customers are like I never have bad customers because they're just like the people in my town.
Oh no, I worked for a chain, like the I guess you would say it's like the New York version of Starbucks. Like New York has Starbucks, but then there's like another chain throughout the city that's just for New York called Gregory's. And I worked on Wall Street, like in the financial district.
Oh God.
So it was just, every morning a line out the door of finance guys in like $5,000 Armani suits.
Yeah, and I don't ever hardly get the out the door busy anymore. The first coffee shop that I worked for was really, really busy. There's an area in like our area, it's Nantahala, the like crazy rafting river that everybody goes to. It's at the end of that, and it is so crazy busy in the summer. And the owners were dog shit, and they never put like as many people on staff as they needed to, and made like crazy profit because of it. And it's like we worked 13-hour days because they wouldn't work mid shift. It's just so much better working somewhere where you're like respected.
Yeah. Yeah, working for like a smaller coffee shop, even though, no one's making money, including the owner, is nice. Because, when I worked for a chain, it was like, that guy, Gregory, was making like crazy money. He was doing really well. Yeah, but it was also just like so stressful because, like, if you had any seniority or had been there a while, all those people got the what. Did something happen?
It just was flickering, like
oh boy,
pausing I can still hear you, but our camera's just.
Oh no, I just remember that like anyone who had been there for a minute got to pick their shifts, so that was all the mid shifts because those are the people who could just come in and then leave, and then I was only ever scheduled to either open or close or do a clopen. Where they schedule you to close and then open the next day.
Yeah.
So that sucks. Opening a coffee until
9.
Yeah, so this one was open until pretty late. It was
go to bed at like 10 because you got to hang out for a minute.
Yeah. So I was like,
wake up at 5.
Yeah, that's what. It would be. I would close. I wouldn't get out of there until like 9 or 10, and then I'd have to wake up at like 4 a.m. so I could get there by 5 to open it. And working for like the minimum wage at that time in the city was like $15 an hour. So, but it's like no money for where you are. And then like I don't know if you've ever met like extravagantly wealthy people, like finance kind of guys.
Oh yeah.
They don't tip. Like poor people are very generous with their money.
Yeah,
I guess it's
the river hippies.
Yeah. But guys with thousands of dollars in suits do not tip. So I was just making like, 1,000 lattes every morning for these guys. And, I'd walk away at the end of the day with like $15 in tips.
See, that's insane. When I was working at the coffee shop that I first started at, with out the door lines, days were like $200 or $300 in tips.
That's cool. Yeah.
Which is not what I get now, but I pay my bills and that's all I really care about.
Yeah. Hey, surviving is good. It's good to survive. But yeah, as soon as I was able to get an office job, I was like, yo, fuck this coffee shit.
Yeah, I would love to be able to get something like that, but until my son goes to school, it's really just not in the cards. And stuff's fine. Like I'm just hanging out.
Yeah. And even, even now.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm saying you're in art school, so you got to work for yourself if you're going to do that. I guess like, are there places that hire artists?
So it's hard in my area because there's not like, I think I'd have to find somewhere in like Asheville, and I'm like 2 hours from Asheville.
Okay.
Probably more than that actually. And I don't even know if like I'd have to look beforehand to even know if I have a way in Nashville from our direction. But there's just not a lot of like places in my area, like at all.
Right. So you're pretty rural.
Very rural.
But you have the
Our town
internet.
has three stoplights.
But you have the internet. So
Yeah,
you
I have
can,
internet.
and you're getting an art degree. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think
I drive an hour to get to school.
Yeah. So I think, because somebody in the chat earlier, I think it was Michael, was like, what kind of job are you going to get with that? It's like, really, I think the value of like a liberal arts education. I have met people that went to art school and got jobs as like creative, like art directors for stuff. I've always heard that job title, art director.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lady who went to art school and now she's like an art director for Cinemark, the theater chain, and she makes really good money doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Most people I know that went to liberal arts college, got arts degrees, or like working as bartenders, baristas. Yeah. But I think like where it's valuable, especially now, is it does give you like a foundation to just work for yourself, like make your own things, and then because you have the internet now, you just you just be an artist on the internet. Because like
my fallback is like teaching. Like I can do a lateral entry because I'd have to take my math praxis if I wanted to do art education, and that's just not honestly like what I want to do. But if I needed like a big girl job, I could just go teach.
Teaching's cool. We get summers off.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband's a teacher, so it's kind of like I see a lot of the things that are good about it, like the pension and the insurance and stuff like that, but it's just like so much fuckery.
Yeah, it seems like a nightmare. Like I couldn't do like having to go and like try and wrangle children every day.
He's a professional babysitter a lot of the times, and it's like he has these children that he like bonds with and like really like wants to see do well, and then like other kids that are just like it's just like the way that the world works. There's bad and good people, and having to deal with all of them, 30 of them all together at a time gets overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a noble profession though. To get the next generation ready for to be baristas.
Love you.
Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I guess I guess you do art on the internet. I don't know, I make like decent money doing this. Like I got my English degree. I'm in debt. I struggled in the workforce for a while. But it's like now, just because of the internet, I have a couple YouTube channels, a couple Patreons. I make pretty good supplemental income. Not nothing that's paying my bills yet, but even then, I do during the day I do sales now, so that's draining the life out of me. I actually took a personal day today.
Good, you got to sometimes.
I was supposed to work today, and I just like called out, which actually benefits me because like if I take a day off, if I use some of my PTO, I don't have to sell as much for the month. They factor that in, and so I can, my quota actually decreases, so that's good.
But, yeah, I did car sales for a while, and I hated it. I did it for like 3 months.
Yeah, you have to be like a certain kind of person for sales. It's like it is like it can be very lucrative, and anyone can do it. Yeah, like it doesn't require. I mean, most of the people I work with, I think, are like borderline illiterate. Like there's no formal training or education you need to do it, but you do have to like be about that life, like sales, like all that like these guys online, like Jordan Belfort or Grant Cardone, like these sales guys. I don't know if you've ever seen these kind of like the videos of like some guy on a stage talking about
oh yeah, like the guy, like the looks maxing guy.
Yeah,
the bald looks maxing guy.
Yeah, that guy. Yes, yeah. I forget that guy's name. He's insane. Like the
You
thing.
can't eat cheeseburgers.
Yeah. The thing that sucks, like that I've learned doing sales, is that all of that stuff is true and it works. So like all those like techniques and all these like insane sales things that these guys like talk about, if you can like remove the regulator in your mind that says this is stupid and it hurts and it's painful for me to behave this way, then you can make a lot of money doing sales. It just also just like destroys your heart and soul. But I made pretty good commission this last month, so
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is like the one job where you can like, if you are like directly compensated for your work, where they go, oh,
Yeah,
you
and that's
sold a lot, so here's more money.
when I was working in sales at the car dealership. It was like the thing that made it mostly the worst was, like we were talking about earlier, is the owner was awful. And our pay plan changed every single month I was there. I worked there for like 3 months, and our pay plan changed 3 times. And it was like every single time it was taking more money out of our pockets and putting more money in his pocket. It's like, and we actually got paid even if we didn't sell. So if you didn't sell enough to cover your base pay, then you owed the dealership, which never happened, thankfully. But
Yeah, car sales sounds like it sucks. I definitely would rather make a living as an artist. I'm trying.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm also stupid though, so like I make money and then I like lose some of it gambling. So I gotta like stop doing that.
Yeah. Art's expensive.
The art that you do, and I don't even know. Like I say like these things for lack of a better word, I call the stuff I do art. I don't really know what it is I do, but you do like drawings and paintings. You got pencils and crayons and brushes. That's what I always thought of as like art, but that's all that stuff's like really expensive.
Yeah, and like especially doing like stained glass now, like just a roll of like a pretty small roll too, like this big, maybe has like, depends on sizes I'm doing. It's got probably like the size of pieces that I do, maybe like 10, 15 pieces worth of solder in it.
Yeah.
And it's $30.
Yeah.
And then like
I remember
glass
like
is $30 a piece.
yeah. If you do you remember like I don't know if you saw this like a few years ago or several years, I forget when, Jim Carrey went like crazy or something.
Oh, yeah.
Something happened where Jim Carrey went nuts and got like really into painting. And there was like some like short documentary that came out about like Jim Carrey doing painting, and so like it was showing like his process, and
Yeah.
you was watching him paint, and he was just dumping like buckets of paint on these canvases, and like the comment section, I remember everybody was saying like, yeah, I mean, this is cool if you have like tens of thousands of dollars to waste on the fucking paint that he's using.
Yeah.
So
No.
it is, yeah, like I guess that's why like a lot of the fine art world is also like CIA funded. So like these guys, when you go to the museums and you're looking at like Picasso's and stuff like that, they're like, I guess a lot of those guys were like directly funded by the CIA because they couldn't afford their own materials.
Sorry, man.
Oh, anyway? Have you heard that? Have you heard that like Picasso, Pollock, a lot of these guys that's like you would think of as like modern artists, the stuff that like I guess like it was like considered contemporary modern art, right?
Yeah.
I guess is like they say was like a CIA op, that the CIA funded a lot of those guys, either directly or indirectly, and that was how they were able to make money.
Yeah, like money laundering.
I don't know. This is something I heard, was that like that what spurred on the modern art movement was it was like a psyop by the CIA to do what, I don't know, but that's what I've heard. Some people have told me.
Yeah, I could see it. There's so much shit that goes on behind closed doors in our government, and I'm just like, probably.
But I like all that stuff. Like I like going to a modern art exhibit and looking at all the stuff that these like trad guys online say. Like my kid could do this.
Yeah.
I look at like who's that guy? Toombley? You know what I'm talking about? Fuck, dude, who is this guy? I saw this stuff at a museum one time, and it's like a Cy Toombley.
I'm really bad with names too. Like I'm more likely to be like, oh yeah, I remember that art piece.
He does like he does like stuff like this. Here, look at this. Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that pisses me off. I'm not gonna lie. I've never liked abstract or I'm like, I don't know. What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, some of them are pretty cool. I don't know. I go to an art museum. Like when I go to an art museum and see that stuff, I'm like, it's impressive that even if this is bullshit, it's impressive that he made this work. You know what I mean? It's like he really sold this to people, and it's in a museum now. So that's pretty cool.
Kind of unrelated. One of the like more cool places that I've been recently. The most recent place I went was actually New Orleans. I went to Noma and on with my ceramics program. We do outreach with the LGBTQI community, and it's called Pride Pots. So basically, it's a safe space for people of that community to get together and paint bisque. There's 2 firing processes to ceramics. You fire it once to get the water taken out of it for glazing to take on, because the glaze will absorb, because glaze is mostly water and then like minerals and chemicals. And then the ceramics take it on and absorb those things, and then you fire it a second time for glazing. Mm-hmm. So we bisque fire them so that they can put underglaze on, which is another, like there's underglaze and glaze. Underglaze goes underneath the glaze and is like a paint. So they can use underglaze to paint them, and then we glaze them, and then either send it to them or put it on display.
Okay.
And we went to the LSU ceramics department. It was pretty cool. But my favorite, those were pretty cool, and I saw a lot of really cool stuff. There's a sculpture garden at the Fine Art Museum in New Orleans, but it's the National Quilt Museum in Paducah, Kentucky.
National Quilt Museum.
Yeah. And they have like all sorts of really cool installations of like fine art quilts that are like really cool.
Like
I think
blankets?
I can share my screen. Share screen, cool.
Yeah, you can throw it up here. Or no, wait, I don't see it. Here. There it is.
And I got a shot glass from here. Like stuff like this.
Oh, that's cool.
Textile. And then there's a lot of them that have like really cool beadwork and stuff on them. I have a file somewhere on my laptop with all of the pictures that we took. Oh, this one was there when we visited.
Oh, that's cool. That's a blanket?
It's a quilt, yeah.
My grandma made me
this
a quilt.
One was there when we were there. This was actually when we were there. This was there was one of like flowers, and then like these crazy, almost like Moroccan style beadwork quilts. And they have like tiny little beads like everywhere. Really cool.
I like beads.
I do too. Yeah, I have a lot of them from making the jewelry stuff.
Beads?
Beads.
Beads? Remember that from Arrested Development?
I never watched it. No. That era of TV, I was more into like Parks and Rec.
This was before Parks and Rec.
I always think of those two specifically synonymously. Like
yeah, Arrested Development was Bush era was a Bush era sitcom. Parks and Rec was an Obama era sitcom. So Arrested Development, like the central like plot of the show was like the real estate magnate George Michael, George Bluth Sr. His dealings with developing real estate in Iraq is like the central a dilemma within the show, right? But there's a really funny joke in the show where like one of the fail kids, Lindsay, is like talking about how she wants to start selling beads, and then her brother Job, played by Will Arnett, who in real life was married to Amy Poehler, so there is a Parks and Rec connection there.
Maybe that's why I think about them being.
Yeah, he sits up and goes, bees? And she goes, beads. And he's like, bees. And she goes, no, beads. And then he goes, beads? And then Michael says he doesn't like the beads.
That reminds me of the, I think it's Step Brothers, where he's like, Pam? There's an N at the end?
Oh,
Pam?
yeah.
No, Pam.
Yo, speaking of Step Brothers, everybody be talking about this show Severance now.
I've heard of it. I'm bad about watching media.
Well, yeah, it's on a streaming platform that I think no one knew existed until this year. It's on Apple TV Plus. I've watched all of Severance. It's a fun show, but it's starting to become a chore with the people that talk about it. Because I just watch it and I'm like, this is cool. And I go online and I'm like, I was not aware that it was stressing out so many people. That's causing so many problems online. Because like, there's people that like it, and then the people that don't like it think they're smarter than the people that like it.
No, ma'am. Come on.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. Ever since we had our son, she's gotten like really protective. I don't know.
Okay.
Even slightest bump, she's like, the house is on fire.
Yeah, but the main guy in Severance is played by Adam Scott, who plays the douchebag brother in Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's good in the show. Like, the show, good performances. It's a fun show, and it's only on Apple TV Plus, which I don't know who has a subscription to. I do. There's a lot of good programming on there. So it's actually a pretty cool streaming platform, but just more money for just TV show. Like, TV shows are just TV. They're not like, they're not movies. That's for sure. TV's not movies. So, anyway. So wait. So we should probably stay on track. I don't know how much time you got, but we've been going for a while now.
I'm free.
No, I just wanted to know. So the good ass art you showed us, those paintings, the pot. Is that like your style? Is that like what you like to do?
I kind of showed you like my style first, but I do have I have one of them actually. I don't think Danny brought out the self-portrait of me and Ruby, but I could run in there and grab it. He's probably not asleep yet. But
yeah, let's look at some drawings, folks. While she's going to grab that, or no, wait, are we looking at something?
Yeah, I have one of them. This is a 60-hour piece that I've done. This is Crocodile's Garden.
Whoa, that's cool.
And it's like, there's a lot of detail in it. I have a little Buddha with his little offering plate. I don't know what happened with his face, though. He kind of looks shifty as fuck, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's like Jewish Buddha.
This one needs to be framed. It's just matted right now, and it kind of gets... I've had it for so long now. This was in 2022.
Now, how much are you trying to sell that for?
This one framed would be $150.
Ain't bad for something like that. So that took you 60 hours to make?
Yeah.
How's the math
There
work
was a
out
lot
on that?
of progressive layering to the leaves.
Abby,
Where
that's
I
like
was taking
it's like $2.50 an hour.
that's a lot. A lot of the time with art, it's there's a division factor that's factored in when you're calculating the price of a piece. It's the amount of time you have into it plus the cost of materials divided by 30 plus $5 per piece of glass for stained glass. I'm trying to find an equation for like what that would look like for drawing and stuff like that. I don't know. I really go by like size and
Your size queen.
yeah.
Maybe you should just throw an insane number out there. Just start at like $1,500.
I would love to do that. I probably should, especially with more of the pieces like this one that I like spent a lot of time on.
Because
Like that was
I feel like another, and this is where sales comes in. Like another talent of the fine art world is sales. So it's like creating an art, like a piece of art, and then saying it's worth this much, like this amount of money. Like this is what I'm selling it for. And then people ask, like, why is it worth that much? Is it because I said it is? That it is worth that much? You know, you got a whole ass drawing there. That you're asking $2.50 an hour for. Some motherfucker out there just sold a banana duct taped to a wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so, yeah, that's ridiculous. It sucks, but you know what? There's a lesson learned there that guy was able to do that because he believed in it. He believed, or he may not even believe in the piece itself. He believed in himself, his ability to sell a banana duct tape to a wall, and people are still talking about it. So like, therein is the art. The art of it is that people still talk about the banana on the wall. So
all the time in art school, the banana tape to the wall gets brought up a lot.
Well, yeah, because it's like it is interesting that it's definitely stupid. It's ridiculous, and it inherently has like no artistic merit or value. It's just a banana that's been duct taped to a wall. But then because like whoever did it created this like story around it, like created this mythos of just like asking that much, saying that it's like art and worth a certain amount of money. I guess in that way now it is a piece of art, and it like now exists beyond just the visual of a banana duct taped to a wall. It's like now the actual art piece is it's this thing that it's like a meme now. It's everybody talks about it. Somebody actually paid for it. Somebody ate the banana. It's like a whole performance. It's a big dance we're all doing.
And he did it again, if I'm not wrong.
I think he did.
Mm-hmm.
He did it a couple times.
Yeah. He was like banana 1, and like I think it goes to like 2 or 3. Yeah, I haven't kept up with the banana saga. It's kind of one of those art things that pisses me off.
Yeah,
my first year, and after I had my portfolio accepted, I submitted Crocodile's Garden to the juried art show at the school, and the egg, which is that's the name of that face jug, to be in the art gallery. And
Tubi's another great streaming service, by the way.
Huh?
Tubi is another great streaming service. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is you submitted this Tubi in the art gallery.
So shit like that flies over my head sometimes. Sorry. But none of those got like accepted, but a whole ass video of a girl eating a raw onion like an apple did.
Yeah, well, that's provocative because who would do that? You know, that would hurt.
Yeah, she was like crying and like snotting, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Now, how do you know it's a crocodile? Could it be an alligator?
there was something that it's a still life picture that we like set up and took a picture of. There's another painting that I did that I actually gifted to my mother-in-law. So I don't have it anymore, but it was a picture of the same backdrop. You can't tell because this one's black and white, the other one's color. It's a red, like has the shiny like embroidery done on it, so like light catches it and you like it shines and stuff. And then when we were taking the still life, the class I was in was that teacher I was telling you, she's super lenient. I have to kind of police myself.
Yeah.
We Googled it and it's a crocodile. That's why I named it Crocodile's Garden, is because I was like, it is a crocodile skull.
Okay, so you use the crocodile for reference.
Yeah, I was using it's a fake crocodile skull.
But at a glance, I would not know the difference between crocodile and alligator.
Me either. I was like, I'm gonna have to Google it because I need to know now.
I've heard that crocodiles are like worse.
I think so.
I've heard they're like more aggressive. They're stronger.
I don't
know.
Lived in Florida. I've lived in a lot of the southern states, but I haven't lived in Florida yet.
I think Florida is like still gators.
Mm-hmm. Bad. We always vacationed in Florida, and like
we did too. Like
saw crocodiles all the time. And
my family, every time we went on like a vacation, would just go to this like a small town in Florida called St. Augustine.
Oh yeah, I've been to St. Augustine. Or Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Yeah, we never even made it that far. No, we would just go to, for whatever reason, my mom and dad loved going to this little town, St. Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
And we would just go there and just like, kind of just like putter around. Because there's I guess it is like a touristy place. Like, what they say, it's the oldest town in America. And so there's like all this history there and things to go look at. The ocean, there's a pirate ship. But then at the end of the day, I guess it really is not much to do. But I guess maybe there's not that much to do anywhere, You know what I mean? Like you go, like going places is just, you go places to look at things. And if there's a roller coaster, you'll ride a roller coaster or two.
Yeah, our vacation this year is we're going to Hocking Hills, Ohio. I've never heard of it. It's a really pretty area.
No, I've never heard of anybody vacationing to Ohio.
It is gorgeous. I actually am probably going to shoot myself in the foot because it's already pretty busy, but it's some of the prettiest places I've been, and I've been to like pretty much all up the East Coast, and then I've been trying to think of how far west I've gone. Alabama's probably the furthest.
Alabama's nice.
Alabama is nice.
Yeah, Alabama's really
and
pretty.
The property is cheap there and like nice. Like what you would pay like $600,000-$700,000 for here in my area, you can get like $200,000.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of parts of the country. If you're willing to live where there's like
Tornadoes.
Nothing to do, then you can get a cheap house. If you want to live just away from people and anything to do, you're not going to go hatchet throwing, no bowling alleys, no nightlife. But you get a lot of house for not that much money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. I'm actually happy as spending a lot of money for a shitty apartment, but in a city. I'll live in squalor if it means when I step out my door, I could go to like an art museum.
We have a McDonald's and a Wendy's, and some like small like mom and pop type restaurants that aren't any good, and a really good barbecue place that's only open 3 days a week. So my option is either deal with that, cook at home, or drive an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Living rural is nice until it's not.
Yeah.
Like, man, I want to go. Whenever you decide you want to do something, you're like, I fucking hate living out here.
Yeah.
I grew up rural my whole life, so it was always like, it was nice.
Mhm.
It was like always nice and quiet, and there's nature, and that's all cool. But then like, whenever you want to actually do anything, it's like, fuck, I gotta drive an hour to go do anything.
Yeah, it's like, especially now that I have a kid too, it's like, what do they do?
Yeah.
For fun. There's nothing for them to do for fun here. We're looking at moving like just a couple towns over where there's
Dude, just put an iPad in his hands. Say, hey,
No.
here's TikTok.
No, he watches like a little bit of TV, but not a whole lot.
I recently visited with some family, and I saw my cousin and her little kids, 6, 7 years old. That's all they do. Is they're just sitting there either on the TV or on an iPad.
Yeah, that's my nieces and nephews.
Yeah, just doom scrolling through the worst of anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, you know, like what was considered mindless children's entertainment was still a like structured 22-minute cartoon.
Yeah.
So it's like I was, you know, like Cow and Chicken, as dumb as it was, at least maintained like some narrative structure. And it was, you know, people worked on it. Seth MacFarlane worked on it. Now it's like kids are just scrolling through like AI generated TikToks where it's like no joke. I saw them just like for hours watching this kind of stuff where it's just like footage of like Minecraft, like somebody bouncing around Minecraft, and then like a static image of SpongeBob would pop up, and it would be like AI generated dialogue, and then a static picture of Sandy, and it's AI generated. And I'm like, do you guys know you can just like watch actual SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Like there's people,
and it was such a good show. I loved SpongeBob was like my favorite. I still rip out a SpongeBob reference.
Yeah, I was looking at what these kids were watching, and I'm like, there's 25 years worth of actual SpongeBob you can watch.
Yeah.
Why is this what you're like? Why are you watching this version of it?
You shake out a little weird towards the end, but like
SpongeBob is bizarre now. I see clips of it online every now and then. And yeah, ever since what's the guy, Steve Hillenburg? Ever since he died, and because he was like the I guess like the guiding light for the show, like he created it and he was sort of the anchor for that show. Ever since he died, that show is like seemingly gone off the rails.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's been on forever. It's been on for 25 years now, so like. It's been on long enough that I grew up with it and grew out of it, and it's still on.
And it's still going on.
And I'll see it I'll catch a clip every now and then and be like, this is not the show I grew up with. This is a vastly different cartoon. Are you looking at the chat?
Yeah, somebody was like looking at my town in Google Maps. I'm like, there ain't no aquarium.
Yeah, there's probably nothing there. But you know what?
I have my town on my Instagram. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. But you know what? This is nice. You know, this is like, this is cool. Because, like, you know, most people doing shows, you know, content, entertainment, it's just all kind of, you know, it's like LA, New York, maybe Atlanta, Austin, right? That's where everybody does anything now. But I have cornered the market on rural America.
You really have? You have us hooked.
Yeah, because you're rural. Another artist that's a friend of the show who's been on here, Chris Elliott, not the one from Scary Movie 2, different Chris Elliott. He's rural somewhere in North Carolina. I think Crack Amico lives like in rural North Carolina. I don't know exactly where he lives.
I think I've heard he lives like closer to Charlotte. I think.
I don't even know his real name.
Which is
to be honest
far
with you.
from like the state of North Carolina is short but long, and I think he's like the furthest, like almost the furthest you can be like that way. Before.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he lives, but
I
don't know much. I don't know much about Craig, to be honest. I don't know really much about anything about him. like, we're friends. He's cool. We support each other, and I enjoy doing a show with him. And but I'm pretty sure Crackamico is not his Christian name. But I don't know what it. I
I
don't know what
believe he was given that name
I
by.
think it's a nom de plume.
Well, you don't. There was a contest that was given on the
Yes.
Legion of Skanks.
Yeah, it's a name that was given to him by Louis J. Govan.
Yeah. There was a competition where rappers sent in a song and he got picked.
Yeah, and so as far as I'm concerned, he is Crackamico.
Yeah, that's his government name. If I took him to the vet, that's what the name I would give.
He's Crackamico. He lives somewhere in North Carolina.
Somewhere.
And he's my ticket to the big time. I'm riding his coat, his do-rag cape. Now that I'm back on the internet. So wait, what else? So wait, so what guy? I think I don't know if I'm good at interviewing. I feel like this has been all over the place.
You're fine.
What guys? So what got you into? I guess like what got you into art, and then what was it that made you want to go into student loans to do it?
Well, there's a joke I have that it's like I've been an artist since I've had hands. That's pretty true. Ever since I was a little kid, it's just something that, like, specifically my grandmother, who had a large hand in raising me, like, fostered and, like, funded and encouraged. Her son was an artist. My late uncle was an artist. Never knew him or anything like that, but he was really good. Like never formally trained, but did like portraits and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I already have one useless degree. What's another? It's my mindset.
Well, you already have a degree?
Yeah, I have a degree in funeral service.
In what?
Funeral service.
Funeral service?
Yeah.
You went to funeral school?
Yep.
You went to what does that mean? You went to death school?
I did. I that's funny that you even called it that, because I went to my very first day of death school. I posted a picture and I was like, it's my first day of death school.
I didn't know. I've never heard of anything like this. So you go to school to learn
a trade. It's to
learn funeral?
Applied associates, yeah.
That doesn't sound useless though, because like funerary services.
I just don't use it anymore. At that time I didn't have, like, from the elbow down, I didn't have tattoos. I was very professional. I got screwed over in the industry by a piece of shit funeral director, and kind of just like displaced my whole life for a bit.
The funeral industry, is that competitive? It's that
yeah, especially in like small, like rural towns, like the one I was being a funeral director in. It just kind of got chalked up to who had the more better known last name.
That is a big part of funerals.
And he was a man, which is a big part of it, which, like, I'm a small, like, pretty mousy type. Like, I don't have a lot of gusto when it comes to like lifting, and there's a lot of heavy lifting that goes into that job. It's just like,
I would imagine.
They're not able to like handle the heavy lifting of it, which at times was an issue. So I get it.
I was a pallbearer once, and I was like, damn, this is.
I've never been a pallbearer.
Yeah, it's a very stressful situation to be in, because you're like really sad, but then also you have to. You're like, man, I hope I don't drop this dude.
I have dropped a body before, actually.
You dropped a body?
I did, and it fucked my back up because I don't know why I tried to catch it, and yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that would hurt your reputation in funerals.
Well, it was fine. It ended up being fine, but I did fuck my back up for a little while. I had to take some naproxen.
Right. Damn. I would love to know all the. I would love to see the goings-ons and the sort of personalities and Machiavellian people in funeral services.
They're usually just like the guy I worked for the longest was very just stoic and just like could never hardly get a read on him. But like when stuff was serious, like I cut my finger one time doing an embalming and the person had hepatitis, like took me to the hospital immediately, like almost got into a fight with somebody in the
Wait, you were embalming a body of somebody who had hepatitis and you cut yourself?
Yeah. And then like was immediately like that day put on antivirals. I ended up not getting it. So it was all good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you didn't get hepatitis from a dead guy.
Thanks. Yeah, that would have been a highlight of my life.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear that there's like, I guess like the same as like other jobs, like people who are trying to like work over others and I guess like claw their way to the top or to more money. That also also exists in like funeral houses.
Yeah, I like a lot of people think that there's a lot of money in it, but it's really only if you own the funeral home or like you're in that position of that guy that I was just talking about.
But it never seemed to me like it was like, it doesn't seem like it's a terribly lucrative business, but it's consistent.
Yeah.
It's recession proof because people, I mean, up till now, people people keep dying. People have always died and they're still dying. As far as I know, people are going to keep, there's always going to be people dying. So it seems like it's a business that can weather the storm of any recession.
Yeah, and it is, but like you also get into like the sad reality that a lot of people don't plan for it, and like we had the capability of sometimes like writing some of them off, but it's like a lot of the times it's like if you can't pay for it, we just have to keep them. Like we're holding your granny hostage now. Where's my $8,000?
Wait, hold on. Oh shit. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
I'm sure you're all wondering why I've gathered you here today.
Okay, sorry.
You're fine.
So wait. If somebody can't pay their funeral bill, you basically impound the corpse?
Not, I'm specifically mostly talking about like cremations there.
Okay. Well, that don't cost that much money, does it?
No, not eight. $8,000's more of like a funeral, like a low cost funeral number. Our cremations were $1,100 without an urn.
More than I thought a cremation would cost.
Really?
I guess it makes sense because you got to operate that whole crematorium.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy to run a retort. It's there's actually some you have to say recent, but recent's a relative term when it comes to any kind of like medical. I say medical loosely because it's for dead people, but
right.
Like past 30 years, alkaline hydrolysis has been something that's been coming out, and it's coined like aquamation is the term they're using to call it because it's
what
a solution that you put a body in, and it's like a retort runs at like 1400 degrees, and this only runs at like 300, and there's no fossil fuels. It just basically liquefies the body, but the end result is the same thing that you would get from a cremation.
It doesn't sound like it would end with ashes.
Well,
it sounds like you end with like
when you do a cremation, you still pull out a whole skeleton that you have to grind down.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't burn bones to dust. The bones have to be processed in a bone mill grinder. Like you have to turn it. It's actually a law in Georgia that you have to have it be the same consistency as the ashes from the like fleshy bits. It has to all be a consistent.
Wait, you're telling me that when you get done cremating a body, you gotta pull the skeleton out and
Yep.
run it.
There's a tool you use. It's
Put
just
it
like
in
a
like a
squeegee.
mortar and pestle. You have to like the bones, so like fire can't burn bones.
It highly dehydrates them. Like you can literally just like, and it'll fall apart.
Okay. But there's like another step to a cremation. Like you turn it off and then you pull out a skeleton that you have to run through a shredder.
Ideally, letting it cool off first.
Right. You got to cool. Of course, you don't want to. You don't want to try and grind hot bones.
Right.
You know that.
Another thing that's actually cool about this that I have to bring up about the bone grinder is there's, bones are porous and your blood's made up of a pretty substantial amount of iron. When you cremate the bone, those pockets in the bone, the iron turns back into its elemental form of iron. Like you get little like crystalline pieces of iron that end up.
You could sell that at the pawn shop.
I mean, I've tried. They don't give you a whole lot for it. But when you turn on that machine that grinds the bones down, it always sounds like there's something in it, and it's that iron getting like just churned up. It just stays in there. It's not iron's not magnetic, so you can't get it out with a magnet.
Right.
It just stays in there. My first time doing it, I was like, is there still stuff in there? And he was like, it's actually iron. And then showed me one of the bones, and I was like, that's crazy.
Now I'm learning something because
this happens all the time.
Yeah, well, because most people tend to avoid death. So like the business of death, embalming, cremation, like all the like funerary incantations we do. I think most people just like don't want to think about. And so like when you hear about a cremation, I just always assume that you put a body on a roller and you roll it in there and then crank it up or it's already fired up. Because I think like if you put a body in cold, right, you can't do that. You have to preheat the oven.
Yeah. But there's depending on how like fatty the person is or like how small they are, how big they are, like it depends on like when you would burn, like because you need a hotter flame to burn a bigger person.
Right.
So you would do those types of like bigger people last, smaller people first.
Yeah. So the fatties are for the end of the day.
Yeah. Because you don't want that fat to render. You want it to burn.
Right. You're not.
It'll melt and like.
You're not trying to make a stew. Yeah.
No. You're not trying to make carnitas.
Yeah, you're not trying to fry up some cracklings. So all right. And so so you start the day with skinny people, maybe unfortunately children. You want to, I guess, you want to when you clock in the morning at the crematorium, presumably I don't. Is it just so? Wait, there's just bodies. Like you have like a bodies there.
Yeah,
like
we had a cooler that it was a 3. No, that was at the funeral home. We had a 5 you could fit 5 on the rack, and then you could fit a cot in there too if you had a 6th person.
Okay, so you clock in and like you have your day's bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You have the day's bodies ready to burn.
Yep.
And I guess you would start, given what you just told me, I guess you would start with the children. Unfortunately, there's dead kids that you got to burn and then grind up their little bones
for breakfast.
Yeah. Before
sprinkle some on top of my oatmeal.
You still have that breakfast burrito that you've been waiting to eat. But the first things first, I got to burn a child's corpse.
Mm-hmm.
and grind up his bones, and then I can have my breakfast burrito.
Mm.
And then after that, it's like short guys and skinny women.
Short kings.
Short kings. The fallen short kings. You
Rest
burn
in
them
peace.
up.
Gone too soon.
Yeah, and then you grind up their bones. And then, but, come 4 o'clock, it's time to grab the fatties, the obese. Like, if I was dead, I would be an end of the day cremation. And
We also did pets as well. We had a pet retort as well.
Wow. You have to grind up dog bones?
Mm-hmm. All of those equipments though for the pets were separate. No animals are going into
See, this is what the people tune in for. Now they're good guest.
Good goggling cocoa.
Yeah. If you stuck around for the 2 hours, now we're getting into the bones. The bone grinder.
Getting into the meat.
Yeah. Bone grinder, I saw them open for Mastodon a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, you like metal, don't you?
No, not really. I'm not a metalhead. People think I am because I'm like fat and I smell bad. But there's some that I like. Like, I certainly grew up in a time when metal was still popular and it was like a thing to get into. But I think my tastes lean more toward, I like rock and roll, but my tastes lean more toward like punk, I guess, or I don't know what you call it. Like, I guess like emo.
Yeah, like post-hardcore type stuff.
Post-hardcore, and then like variations on rock and roll, like rock music.
Me and my sister, when I was pregnant, we went and saw, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, Dance Gavin Dance.
Yeah,
I've been a big fan of them for a long time. But when I say metal, I'm not talking about like I don't really care for like thrash or like the really hardcore stuff, but I like doom metal type stuff, like Ozzy's kind of a little bit doomy, but like the Sword.
I did see the Sword open for Primus.
I bet that was a really cool show.
That was
the cool Sword's show. Awesome. I really like them.
Yeah, there's some stuff like that. Yeah, the Sword's cool. Baroness is another good one.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the other doom metal that I knew of. The Baroness.
Yeah, and then there's like a lot of Melvin's albums that probably fall under a sort of doom or stoner metal category. Yeah. So yeah, there's like some like metal stuff I like, but like I got a friend who's all into. He's like a metal head, and like that kind of stuff I'm not really into, like Pantera or.
I like Pantera.
I mean,
they're kind of the only like people in that like genre of metal that I really care for.
I mean, I guess I like the hits, like the big Pantera songs. I've never sat down and listened to a Pantera album. Yeah. And there's like a lot of just like a lot of metal sounds very like homogenous to me. Like it's like from album to album, no matter the band, it all just kind of sounds just like I don't know, metal. Like it doesn't resonate with me really in any meaningful way. Whereas like something like Sunny Day Real Estate, I can really just curl up and get sad to. It's one of the emo bands that just popped into my head.
Yeah, I was in that era when like A Day to Remember was just up and coming, but still pretty small. And then they like really, really, really blew up. Right. That was like a pivotal moment for me as a early teenager.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Yeah, I guess when I was a teenager, I was more into like metal because that was the cool alternative. Do what?
The cool thing.
Yeah, and it was like an alternative to what was popular at that time was like Paramore and My Chemical Romance and all that kind of stuff, and I was not into that kind of emo music necessarily. And so like the alternative, like what else was big at that time was like Slipknot, Korn. What else was there? I don't know. I remember listening to a lot of Slipknot and Korn.
I love Korn.
And I do still like Korn for sure.
And System of a Down.
And
Slaps.
Dillinger Escape Plan was another one.
Yeah,
so I mean, I don't know.
More eclectic.
I have eclectic and esoteric ass music
Mm-hmm.
taste. I was just saying that, I guess like Bone Grinder would be a cool band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was a band.
That's like metal band names and like knuckle tattoos.
Yeah.
Or like the
Or like a
notes in my
monster
phone.
truck. If I went to a monster truck rally, the Bone Grinder.
We're looking at going to one in Knoxville next week.
They're great. They're very fun. I haven't been to one since I was a kid, but they're
I haven't
very,
been to
very
one. It's
fun.
$10 admission, dude. I'm driving an hour for $10 admission.
Yeah, they're awesome. So wait, what were you saying? So yeah, you were grinding up the bones of children.
Respectfully.
And so you had to leave the bone grinding industry because of a funeral director. So what happened?
So I was working for a funeral home in Atlanta, and I got an offer. I was driving from North Georgia to West Atlanta to work, and I got an offer. I had sent out an email to this guy like years before, being like, "Hey, in school, I want to like just get the word out that that's what I'm doing, and I'm in the area." Well, he reaches out to me, and I got the job, and he made all these promises about like giving me a car, and then I was eventually going to be like the funeral director in charge of a place where like the crypt keeper was running it and was like on his way out. And then they worked me for 11 days and then fired me for a man with more experience.
Okay. So you were undermined, you were betrayed, you were it sounds like you were let go in favor of a man. The patriarchy. I'm not gonna try. I don't want to be a hack about that. But it seems to me like the funeral services would be like a very like male driven industry.
So there's a lady activist. Her name is, gosh, give me a minute. I haven't thought about Caitlin Dowdy. She's a big advocate for like green burial, which is like no embalming, just like dig a hole, put you in the ground.
Yeah.
Like the good old days. And she's really awesome, and she runs a female-ran funeral home in California.
The first all girls
Girls Club.
Yeah, for the female owned bone grinder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's done like a lot of education. She was a big reason why I wanted to do it in the first place. Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Okay. But it sounds like you kind of got pushed out.
Yeah.
Was it because you were a woman, or that it sounds like maybe they probably thought it was like, does a girl think she's going to be able to grind bones? Like,
so their son did most of the crematory stuff, and I was a lot more comfortable being a crematory operator. And when I swapped jobs, my position kind of swapped too, from where I was going to have to get licensed as an embalmer, because I never fully. There's a difference between,
All right, slow down, sweetheart. You think you're ready for embalming?
Right? I did not. Oh God, worst stuff ever. Hate it. But my job shifted from working mostly in the crematory to now I was going to have to go through with actually getting licensed as a full-on funeral director.
Right.
Because I was just an apprentice. You have to go through like all sorts of licensure and like not an apprenticeship. Yeah, an apprenticeship. where you, even when you're starting out and you're out of school, you can do it when you're in school. It doesn't matter when you do. You can do it before school. Like if your dad owns a funeral home, you can do your apprenticeship before you go to school.
Right.
But you have this like crazy long internship, and like that's when you're able to get licensed. So I was going to have to do all of that anyway. It just ended up working out better anyway. I think that was just the way that the Lord told me that that's not where I needed to be anymore.
Right. You had a dream of funerals, but life never is it's never a straight line. One day you're grinding bones, now you're a barista, you're grinding beans.
I just love grinding.
yeah, maybe you just like grinding things up.
I like making big things small things.
Yeah. Maybe you could work in a quarry next.
Give me a pickaxe. Send me out there. I'm the grindingest motherfucker you've ever known.
Yeah, you're in Appalachia. They could give you an axe and make you break up rocks like a Brother Where Art Thou. Yeah,
I might have like one too many teeth for that though.
Maybe. No, the funeral business does sound like really interesting. Like I feel like that's probably like something most people don't know about.
I liked it. There were times that I liked it. There were times that I really didn't like it, but I think really just specifically embalming, I hated.
I can imagine that. Like if you're good at it and you're like a professional bone grinder, I could see how like the autonomy in that job would be enjoyable. Like you just get to go to work and you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You grab a child's corpse.
Well, that's where like so knowing what you're going to be getting yourself into is like you're on call a lot. So it's like you're not like a 9 to 5 type situation. It's one of those jobs where it's like it can put relationships on strain because you're never 100% free.
Yeah. Yeah, because I met a friend of mine I went to high school with. He started dating a lady and they're married now. And I remember like meeting this woman and she was like the I forget what it was. It was some forensics job she had with in Denton, Texas. She was like the lady who would go to I guess like crime scenes or dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was. What exactly her job title was, but she talked about like she loved it, but then she would just describe like horrific things that had happened to people, but in the same way that you would like with the same tone and positivity of like describing like a painting you like.
Yeah.
She seemed to like really enjoy going to crime scenes and looking at the ways people died and then doing that job. And it was like in a similar vein as what you're talking about, where it's like the business of death and just like something people don't really think about, but she had like a real passion for it. So I could see like, it is like a very niche profession that like, if you have a passion for it, that's what I could see how that'd be cool.
Yeah, but I did at one point, but it got like it's just one of those jobs that'll wear you down after a while. I did EMS
I can see that.
Fighting after that for a while. I kind of had like the "you fucked me over, I'm going to take your money" type thinking with that, and that was the same kind of thing. It was not sustainable. Something I could only do for not just that. The pay is like it's the same thing with like the funeral stuff. It's like there's too much work and not enough pay. And those are, I think, some of the more important jobs that people do.
Right. So you were thinking like, I'm not getting paid enough to grind.
No, one of the fire departments I worked for was $9 an hour.
No shit. I think you get paid the same amount like bagging groceries at Dollar General.
More probably. The place I ended up settling down with, I started at 15 and got up to 19, which in the town that I was living in,
still nothing. It's still like an insulting.
The county though, that was what paramedics were getting paid.
Yeah,
19.
That's fucking no money. That's that's like such an insultingly low amount of money for that for really any job now. But this country don't make no damn sense.
No,
Ain't nobody getting paid to do any real work. Everybody, the people that get the most money do the least amount of work, and then we got people grinding up bones making $9.
We really did a full circle on that. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's the beauty of podcasting, folks. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's like the big and like because I think you and I are like pursuing life similarly, but even though like you're doing like drawings and paintings, and I'm doing like whatever this is, you do like realize that you work enough jobs and make so little money doing like really hard work where you go, I think the only way to make money is like working for yourself. Like that's the only way I'm ever going to make any real amount of money is if I do something that people find valuable and then I could sell it myself. Because working for someone else is a scam. And no one's ever going to pay me anything to do any actual work. Which sucks because then you have to be motivated and work hard to get people to want to buy your stuff. Which is why, like, which is why it is funny that you hit me up. This is a cool show that we've done here. You and I yapping together.
Yeah,
it is funny that you hit me up and were like, yeah, I want to like come on and tell people I'm an artist, but you don't have a website. You don't have an Etsy store. There's no way for anyone to buy anything that you've done.
You've just got to DM me.
Right, because I will say that from what I've seen, you are talented.
Thank you.
And you've worked hard. You have some good ass art from what I've seen. You probably could. And this is the same thing I told Chris Elliott, who's been on this show, is like, you do have to have. I guess you have to have a sort of like a carnival barker spirit. You have to be like, I don't know if that's the right word. You have to have a thing in you that's also ready, like able to, tap dance for people to sell the thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of anathema to like the being an artist, right? It's like not like you've done the drawing, you've done the painting. Now it's time to like sell it to people. And what that entails is like really promoting yourself and marketing yourself, which is like not really, the job of an artist necessarily, right? It feels gross.
Yeah,
like it
almost
doesn't feel
feels weird in a way. Like, look at this thing that I made. Buy it.
Yeah, it feels like because I remember when I first started trying to promote anything, whether it was like asking people to come to a show or listen to the podcast, subscribe to a Patreon. I remember thinking like, this feels really disgusting. Like it hurts me to do this. But then I just pushed through that feeling because I was like, I want to make money. And now it just is just like, oh, it's just posting. Like I'm just posting. I'm just like A, always B, B, C closing. I'm just selling and just like, promoting everything. And then it works. Like, if you just like constantly and endlessly promote what you're doing, people will see it. And then they see it over and over again. And then now it's in their head. And then eventually they subscribe to the Patreon. Right.
Yeah.
And so, but that's all, but like, that kind of runs opposite of like the artist, the mind of being an artist, where it's like, well, I just want to do my drawings. But then, I guess you got to figure out a way to make money doing it. So I guess for now, folks, you should follow Abby on Instagram and just hit her up and say, hey, I want to buy a painting.
Yeah, and like I've just got to get also better about actually posting and like remembering to do that when I make something. It goes into that like my brain's just broken in that way. Like I've had Robbie's piece done for like probably a week and a half now, and I've just not sent it to him.
See, this is important. You gotta kind of have the same mentality as a FinDom. This guy, you gotta find yourself a pay pick. Thank you for the $5, by the way. Yeah, you gotta have. It's like a combination of doing like FinDom, but also actual art and commerce, where it's like, I'm not just taking your money so that you can to satisfy some weird sexual kink. It's actually I am trying to sell something of value. So there's a lot to be learned from FinDom also when it comes to being an artist. Because those
And I
FinDom,
thought that said I needed to find myself a gay pig.
yeah, and also a gay pig.
It's like interesting. I don't know. Ruby, are you gay? She's a pig.
Yeah. or speaking of gay pigs, I mean, look at somebody like Tim Dillon, right? That guy, who knows? Is he the best comedian on the planet?
No.
No. He is, honestly, he is very funny. But what he really excels at, aside from being a gay pig, is like selling himself. He understands, that aspect of it. And so, that's and that's kind of where art and money collide. Because in a perfect world, you could just do drawings all day and that'd be enough. But we don't have that now. You gotta, nowadays we still have to make money, which is a pain in the ass. It does suck to have to be like, man, I got bills. This sucks.
And we live like pretty modestly. Like we don't like that's how I'm able to pay my bills and be a barista. I work nights mostly. I'm like we have like a half coffee, half bar situation going on. So I work bartending mostly. And, I get during the winter, I do both. Like there's just me there. And if you want a coffee, you come in and you get a coffee. And if you want a beer, you come in and you get a beer. Both of them from me.
See, now I'm thinking like a salesman here, an art dealer. You work at a coffee shop. Is it like locally owned, like a small business?
Yeah.
Have you asked the owner if you could put up like paintings to sell?
Yeah, and he said you're welcome to put up like whatever kind of art you want, and we're in the works of getting some kind of mechanism set up to where I can hang up my stained glass because it's all like sheet metal, like on the walls, like decorative sheet metal. So there's nowhere to really like screw, and then it's concrete and brick behind that, so it's like there's nowhere to really.
Right. I can see how that would be difficult. Because, I've gone to coffee shops before where they got like, little paintings and then there's like a little tag under it where it's like $750. I'm like, who the fuck is buying this shit?
Yeah. Well, so that's another point is that like, I don't have a lot of my art to show you because I have some of it at like esoteric type store that's a couple towns south of me. And there's also some at a coffee shop. The coffee shop I've got to get in contact with them to let them know that I've got stained glass and stuff now too. But yeah. Oh.
Okay. Well, yeah, but you're still in school, so
Yeah, and that's something that I started like not even being confident that I would 100% finish it. So it's just I was wanting to go see if there was more I needed to learn. There's not a whole lot that I've learned.
I have always wondered about because in my experience, because I was a biochemistry major at first. I did that for like 4 years. So I was like deep into it. And then the year that I was taking like the actual biochemistry course, Calculus 2, mechanical physics, I just failed every exam. And I was like, all right, I don't know if this is going to work. And so then I changed to an English major because like I had started doing open mics around that time anyway. So I was like, wanting to do more creative things. I don't know what my plan was with being a science major, to be honest. But then, like, as an English major, and like trying to figure out how to better myself and what I wanted to do creatively, by the end of it, I was like, I think I'm just like still in debt, and I don't know what I learned from that. Like I just was like, I don't know like if that did anything more for me,
Mhm.
but maybe it did. Sometimes I feel like I do utilize it, like
Yeah.
I possess like more of a foundation than I would have otherwise, but maybe that's also cope, given the fact that I still owe a lot of money.
Yeah. There's always like some aspect of formal education that's always going to be applicable to your everyday life in some way, shape, or form.
You know what pisses me off though? My loan is a private loan, right? I got my student loan with Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers got out of the student loan business years ago. And so you would hope that like if the bank that wrote your loan is deciding that they're no longer going to be in the business of student loans, that they would just say, it's a wash. So no more student loan. No, they just sold it to another company. So now instead of having to go to the Wells Fargo website, I got to go to a website called firstmarkservices.net every month and give them $240.
God, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's because it's a private loan. So.
Yeah. Mine are on like forbearance right now because I had my son and I don't work as much now. So just forbear them.
Yeah. I've done that. I only have like 2 months left if I ever want to do that again.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I've done that. I've missed payments. I've had to dodge phone calls. My credit score is in the toilet because when I went crazy, I put my bank account in the negative at the time, and then like racked up a bunch of like just credit. I pulled out a bunch of credit cards, and those are delinquent. So I don't even know where that debt is now. I mean, it's probably with some other creditor. So I just don't. I never answer my phone anymore because every call that comes through, I'm like, it's either a telemarketer or a creditor.
Yeah. The thing about that is though, like my surgery from where I had my son was like the hospital. It was like you couldn't set up an auto withdrawal. It's like it was designed to go to collections.
Yeah.
You only got 2 months before they sent it to collections, and like there was no auto withdrawal.
I'm never paying any medical debt. I've got so many hospital bills where I said I ain't paying a fucking cent of this shit.
I've not been taken to court, but my mom's been taken to court over hospital bills.
Over medical debt?
On my behalf, yeah, when she was my guarantor, yeah.
I didn't know they could do that because mine was like a 5150, which is involuntary hospitalization.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, if I was sent here against my will, I'm not fucking paying you for this. Like the ambulance got called on me, and then they said I was too crazy to be on the streets, and then dragged me to a hospital. I'm just not gonna pay any of this. And so now I don't even know where that debt is. I didn't pay any of it.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I did need to be in the hospital. Like that that was what needed to happen, and I got better. But also, I was like, first off, I can't. The first thing I need to do is get my bank account out of the negative. I'm not even thinking about these bills. So, but I guess they could take me to court one day. Was it $5 Canadian? Dalton did the unlimited money glitch, but it got patched out in one of the updates. That is true. I did do that. I had my Venmo account at the time was connected directly to my bank. The bank had no money. The bank had no money in it, but I was still like processing a bunch of transactions through Venmo. Like I was just having it. I don't know where my head was. I guess because I had gone crazy. I didn't understand that like because I had no money, my debit card was not going to work. So I would go places, try and buy groceries and food and stuff, but my debit card wouldn't go through. And so I was like, why the fuck is this not working? And then I went on DoorDash or some Uber Eats thing to just have like bottles of water delivered to my apartment or like whatever it was I initially ordered, and then the transaction went through. I was like, well, this is working, and so I just was having everything delivered through because the Venmo transaction was going through. Well, then turns out what was actually happening was that Venmo was clearing the transaction and then trying to draft the money from my bank. There was no money in the bank, so it would get bounced back to Venmo. Mm-hmm. And so then, unbeknownst to me, Venmo and my bank are like doing battle with each other. That when I get out of the hospital, I look at my bank account and it is deeply negative because of this.
Shit.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I did do an infinite money glitch that caused me to, because my bank account was in the negative, but I still had immediate bills I needed to take care of. Mm-hmm. Where I then was, for a time, was using Cash App as a bank. So I had to figure out the routing number and account number for my Cash App, and then look up what is the actual bank for Cash App. It's Sutton Bank in Ohio, folks, if you ever need to do this, so that I could get direct deposits to my Cash App so that I could then pay my bills. So I had to order the Cash App debit card and then have any money that I was getting paid deposited to my Cash App so I could then pay my bills. So, no, because I could pay bills in cash, like actual cash. So the money would get deposited in my Cash App. I had a Cash App debit card that I could then take to an ATM, and I would have to pay the surcharge to withdraw the cash I needed to pay, like what I needed to pay, like my immediate bills. It was a fucking nightmare. And that's over now, and I'm just like deeply, deeply in debt these days. But I have a sales job. I got the Patreon, patreon.com/Corfield with Dalton Pruitt, patreon.com/the Crowder Boys. Please give me money. You see, Abby, it's that easy. You just say to people, please give me money. Abby, Dalton has been fending off women with a stick for a while. Seems like he wants me to ask her, what do you suggest he does? He doesn't finish like I don't need. They want you to give me dating advice. I'm not really thinking about dating right now.
And that's when it happens too.
Yeah, it's true. It is like when you're not.
What happened when I met my husband? So
yeah, you just kind of have to let go, let go and let God.
Yeah.
I guess we should wrap this up soon. I guess.
Yeah, I've got a couple of other pieces here. I was going to show the one that I made for Robbie. You
made a painting for Robbie?
I made Robbie a stained glass piece.
Really? That's cool.
I was going to make him a Pokemon themed one, but it was just like every step of the process that I was doing with it was just like biting me in the butt.
I think he would honestly, you don't have to do this, but it's funny that for Robbie you made a stained glass piece because I think he would appreciate this. Let me show you something. I don't know if you ever saw this, but it's PETA.
Well, I still want that money. It's the only way I can afford that surgery to turn myself into 100% stained glass.
Neither do I.
All right, I'm scratching it. Such a good idea. Holy shit.
So yeah, if you did a stained glass
I'm scratching that. That's so awesome. But he was making there was one time where he was just having a hard time about it was like the Lev Fur bullshit got brought up. Like when all of that stuff happened, we were watching and like kind of like seeing what Lev Fur had going on, and we were just like, yeah, fuck that guy. Unsub. But just kind of wanted to be like, we've been following Robbie for a long time now, so we just wanted to be like solidarity, dude. But the same design I made for my sister for her birthday.
These are cool colors.
Just a different color scheme, and then I've got some that are cut and need to be ground, but these are just little tulips that I made. The solder on this one's pretty boo-boo, but this is the same one, same design, everything. Better solder.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, these are cool pieces. Stained glass is cool.
Yeah, I've really liked it. It's something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, but I just finally had to be like, okay, I've got to just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, stained glass is neat. I always liked looking at it at church. I think that's usually where people see stained glasses when you go to church.
Yeah. I sit next to one of the windows that's in our church usually when we go. And it's always cool to see and know like the process that goes into making something like that.
Oh yeah, you know how to do it. You just
Well, I
showed
don't know
us.
how to do that specific kind of stained glass. That's all camed stained glass. The method of stained glass that I do is called copper foiling.
Okay.
So you take a copper foil, has a sticky side and then a non-sticky side, and you put it around the glass. And that's how you get metal to adhere to it, is because copper and lead will combine. The solder is lead tin solder. And the copper sticks to it, and that's how you get the glass to fuse together.
Okay.
But there's another method called cane, and there's different styles to it. There's H, so it's got 2 channels for the glass to go through. That's for like if you have 2 pieces that are going together, and then there's like U shaped, that's for like edges that you need to have like a smooth edge to. But for windows, you have to have a pane of glass in front of and behind that glass to keep it temperature.
Okay.
Like pliable, like they're thermodynamic.
Okay. But if you wanted to, you could make a stained glass pita.
I think I have to now.
Yeah, Robbie would love that.
Yeah,
If you did a stained glass pita.
Yeah, that's like all going to be pretty simple cuts too. So that's something I'm more confident in being able to handle. The Pokemon all have like a lot of like small minutia, and that was just like the first thing my brain went to for some reason was Pokemon.
It's Pokemon.
So
Yeah, I guess that's a. Oh yeah, you got a Shamandre.
Yeah.
Oh, that was I mean that was like because Stephen A. Smith. Somebody asked him about people will ask him questions, for his like internet show, and so he'll like comment on just like anything nowadays.
Yeah.
And there was like a really funny thing where somebody asked him about like which Pokemon starter he would go with, and I don't know if he genuinely like had never heard of Pokemon or didn't know how anything was pronounced, but for Charmander he kept saying Shamander. Shamandre, whatever however you say it. And so that was making me and Robbie laugh.
I don't know why that just pulled like a pretty early meme out of my head when you said that. It's that guy that's like, she showers with Pantene, but I've got watermelon to keep me clean.
I don't know what this is. I don't know who you're
You
talking
don't
about.
know the watermelon guy? Oh god,
Watermelon?
Watermelon.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many. There's a lot of things on the internet.
It was one of those pretty, not like beginning YouTube type stuff. I don't know. Actually, it could have been.
Oh yeah, I took her to chicken fillet. Unforgivable. Remember that guy? Unforgivable. Oh, nice. Lewis and Crack have met up. They linked up.
Oh, nice.
I guess Lewis is in North Carolina right now.
Oh, that's sick.
Lewis is a great salesman. There's a lot to learn from Lewis because, dude, that was cracking me up. His tour right now. I haven't been like listening to much of what's going on in the skanks world.
I haven't either. It's odd too.
I don't know how much he's like commented on this, but I saw that his tour right now is called the Bring 5 Friends Tour, which is really made me laugh because it's like such a just like glaring like attempt to just fill the seats, or it's just a funny reference because like when you do comedy, when you get like bamboozled early on by comedy clubs, one of the good scams that a comedy club will run is like what's called a bringer show, and it's like where a club will say, we'll give you like 7 minutes of stage time, and then hand you a stack of tickets and be like, but we need you to bring people, so you have to do the marketing for the club basically and bring people. And usually, so it's like you got to bring 5 or 6 friends. And so it just was making me laugh that Lewis's tour is like he's touring a bringer. He's like doing it as a bringer show. He's calling it the Bring 5 Friends tour, which is brilliant marketing, honestly, on Lewis's part.
That is funny.
Yeah. I was going to look up your, and I'll put this in the description for the episode. But your Instagram. This is the only way anyone can find you currently. So, folks, if you want to commission a piece or buy some good ass art from Abby, your Instagram is pastel.mountains.art. So that's pastel.mountains.art. Pastel.mountains.art is where you can find Abby currently. And then she'll make a website.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list now, Dalton. You've convinced me.
But for now, and I'll make sure it's in the description for the episode. It's pastel.mountains.art is where you can find Abby, and so hit her up and commission some art or buy something she already made. Buy that. How much is that? How much would you sell that pot for? That jug face.
The jug, I'd really like to get 300 out of it because it's 13 and a half inches tall, and it took me longer than Crocodile's Garden did, for sure.
Yeah. The chat seemed to really like that piece. They were going off when you showed the jug. I'd pay $300 for that.
Oh yeah.
I don't have now I say I would. I'm not committing to that, but I'd say it's definitely worth at least 300.
Yeah.
The jug. But wait, if you're charging 300, does that include shipping?
Yes.
That's a hell of a deal. On a piece that big, on a big ass jug like that, that's a good deal.
Yeah, all of my prices, typically I try to price to include what the shipping would cost.
Yeah, folks, you're gonna want to buy art from Abby while she's still while it's still so affordable. For right now, these are still very good prices for good art. But then, in a year or two, you're not gonna be able to afford Abby's artwork. Right, Abby?
I hope so. No, yeah. Don't come at me in a year when I'm selling my stuff for $1,000.
Right. Yeah. The North Star really is the banana duct tape to a wall. You see that and you go, if that motherfucker can sell that shit for a couple $1 million, I should be able to sell a jug for a couple thousand.
Yeah.
But right now you're getting it on sale, $300 for that jug.
Yep.
For a jug face, a face jug.
Yep.
There was a horror movie that came out a few years ago about like an Appalachian horror movie called Jug Face. I wonder if it's about the jug you showed us.
I haven't heard of that one.
I never saw it.
Not my genre.
Yeah, I don't know. But we're not here to talk about the straight to DVD horror movies. You're selling it. You got a jug with a face on it. It's a good jug. It's a good face. $300.
Quality.
And folks, and that's pastel.mountains.art. You can buy the jug. You can buy drawings, paintings, stained glass,
Jewelry,
even. And that's all done by the one and only Bone Grinder. You call yourself the Bone Grinder.
Yes, that is me.
Yeah.
Not anymore. In a
not-
past life.
Yeah, that could be your like your moniker, or maybe you could just call yourself Abby. Whatever you want to do. But if you ever wanted to have like a like a moniker, art by the bone grinder.
My original art name was Faces of Anarchy, and that was
That's
just
in the same spirit as the bone grinder.
That's what I'm saying. I changed it because it sounded so like.
Yeah, it sounds like that. Have you seen that guy that does like custom hats? It sounds like the hat guy who does like the hats with the skull and the card.
I think I know who you're talking. He makes those
Yeah.
like felt hats.
He's the bone grinder of hats. The process looks cool. Like it's a really cool process, like making a hat. But the work he does looks fucking ridiculous. It's like Juggalo hats. It's like like the top, and it is cool, but it's like such like a trashy taste. It's a hat I would wear, honestly. But it's like a hat, like on the top is a skull, and then there's like a card, and it's like he burns it to give it like a worn, like burnt look.
Yeah, like the what was that brand with like the jeans, and then they had like the t-shirts that like rich or like high middle class dads that tried to be cool would wear.
I don't know. I mean,
They usually have like the smoke and like the skulls and
there's
like
so much of that. There's like
crowns
affliction,
and stuff on. Yeah,
tap out, and then
it's tap out adjacent, definitely.
Yeah. And that's Faces of Anarchy. That's Bone Grinder.
Somebody was like, that was a bad name, Faces of Anarchy. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's why I changed it. It was like my screen name.
It sounds like a tattoo parlor. Like if you were to ever get into like you could do tattoos.
It was Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy. Oh yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, but my dad has bought a lot of Ed Hardy over the years. Yeah.
Rock on for you,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. No, whatever you want to go. Right now, it's just Abby art. Abby makes art. In the Instagram is pastel.mountains.art. And she's not the bone grinder yet. That's up to you if you want to become the bone grinder. And then me, I have the Patreon. I think we covered everything. I mean, what do you? So I guess like to wrap up, I'm really good at interviewing. It's only taken 3 hours.
I've had a great time. It's been fun.
It's been very fun. I'm glad you came on. This was I was like nervous coming into this because this is the first time I've ever met you. I was like, I don't even know this lady. But this has been nice. Yeah. So I guess like to wrap up. So like what's it looking like after graduation? Like you get your art degree.
Probably just go to work. Like what that entails, I'm not sure if I want to teach or anything like that, but that's always on the table.
Well, you have a portfolio.
Huh?
Like you have a portfolio. Like you showed art here, so like you have pieces that exist that you've made.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that like in my experience, like when I was looking for, okay, what are jobs associated with like my degree? When I was looking for like anything to do with writing, they wanted a portfolio, and I said, cool, I'm gonna go be a barista. But you actually have a portfolio, so it seems like you could put together like a something that is marketable. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how it works, but I feel like teaching is a noble profession, but it does seem like you have like work you've done that you could assemble into a thing, and then hit up a company and be like, do you like art?
Do you like my art? Like old Gregum? Like, do you love me? Do you think you could learn to love me?
Yeah. Because I mean, I've heard of the job titles like creative director, art director, whatever that is. You hit up a company and you go, look at this crocodile, stained glass Peter Griffin. Look at these, and then because I've seen that. Like I know people who's like they work professionally as like they draw things for companies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what you want to do. I'm just saying, like, I feel like having a portfolio is very valuable, and you probably have like more assets at your disposal than you realize.
Yeah.
Like you have like a lot to work with, where it's like once this degree is done, or even before, you have like a way to transition to like the professional side of things.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's just this is like it's pretty new to me. I started, I think it was, and that's like new. A lot of my stuff didn't transfer from my first round of school because it's an applied associates. It's all coded outside of the university system. So I came in as a freshman in my BFA. So I started in 2021, late 2021. And I left in, I went for the fall semester of 2023 was my last semester because I had my son in March of 24. So during that time, it's like, this is like, you don't really get a lot of that information from people. Like it's all about like art. It's not like how do you market yourself and do the business end of it.
Right. Yeah, nobody teaches you how to actually make money. Nobody. I remember my senior year when I was finally getting ready to graduate from college. I realized like, man, ain't nobody told me how to make money. I don't know how to get a job. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then I spent the next decade not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And then I landed on sales, which has been a nice backup. So you could do that. Yeah, I guess you could always do that. You could always do sales and just like completely kill your. It'll kill your spirit and soul. It'll crush you. But I make pretty good money doing it. I don't want to do it. I hate it. Please subscribe to Patreon, everybody. I don't want to do sales forever.
I'm gonna start a Patreon tonight. I don't do content at all. Just subscribe.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen there's so much. I mean, it is like in the sort of people say like now is a hellscape, right? I don't know if that's true because it's like all throughout history, there's been times of like great change and turmoil and transition. So I think like we're experiencing like a new time of like just immense change happening. Like the world is shifting. And so like what people think is a hellscape is really just like a time to just like figure out what it is to do, And so it's like now as bleak as things like can seem nowadays, there are like a lot of tools at your disposal to create, I guess like, make something for yourself. Whereas like in the past, there was a jobs market. Well, that's gone. What do you have now? Patreon, Etsy. You had what's another one? I don't know. Shopify. There's all these things where you can just open your own open your own thing, and and now you're your own boss, and then you just have to do a 1099 every April.
Yeah, I still do that. I keep track of all my stuff, claim everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do watch. I do watch, and this is probably the best. Honestly, this is the best show on TV. Everybody be talking about Severance. Common Side Effects actually is the best show on TV.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't even heard of it.
it's crazy.
What's it on?
Adult Swim,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
probably.
thought like when I found it, Robbie told me about it initially, and then I saw an ad for it, and I thought it was like showing Adult Swim. Mike Judge is involved, and I was like, this is gonna be a good, funny, good comedy, good animated comedy. It's like Michael Clayton. It's like a thriller. It's like a corporate thriller about the pharmaceutical industry.
I actually, yeah, I saw. I didn't bad at remembering names.
Yeah,
I saw a trailer or something for it.
it's a really good show. And I mean, I guess like here and there's some funny moments, but for the most part, it's a show about the pharmaceutical industry and how corrupt and um, or maybe not even corrupt. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a show that like portrays the humanity even in like pharmaceutical executives.
Mm.
So from the people who are sick to the people who want to change the way we do medicine to the evil pharmaceutical industry. It's like a show that like really explores the intricacies of all of that to where even like the CEO of a pharmaceutical company becomes like like a sympathetic character.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. So I don't know, check that out, folks. But more importantly, check out Abby's art. It's pastel.mountains.art. And that, you know, I guess I think we're done. Was there any closing thoughts, Abby?
No, I really appreciate you having me on, and yeah, just hit me up if you ever want to have me back again sometime.
Of course, yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you hanging out for this long.
Oh yeah, like I said, on like Sundays are one of those days. Like the only thing I got to do is wake up and be a mom in the morning. So
Yeah, and
I'm going to the park. That is my biggest obligation.
Oh, the parks are not like parks.
Love going to the park.
That's a real shame with this current administration is they want to gut so much funding, federal funding, and you know I just hope that we maintain our parks and our good public services.
Yes.
I think that's a worthwhile use of tax dollars, and also and so that I hope we keep it to where I can keep buying soda with my SNAP benefits. Do not take away my soda.
I mean, you know, I had my son's birthday party yesterday, and one of my best friends came, and I asked her they were going to stop at a Mexican store, and I used like anchos and art balls and stuff, cooking a lot. I was like, will you pick me up some of those? And she got here. I was like, how much do I owe you? She's like, nothing. They take SNAP.
Yeah. SNAP is awesome.
Free chilies.
Yeah, SNAP is cool. Getting money from the government to buy groceries is cool. And then being able to use that money to buy nachos and soda and Pop-Tarts and I don't know. I remember I would go with my aunt was always on. She had SNAP. I remember going to the grocery store with her, and she would buy like a bunch of soda and like junk food, and I'd be like, "This is awesome. The government's paying for this. This is a really good program." So I just I guess let's keep the parks. Let's keep the soda. And folks buy some art from Abby. She's gonna make a stained glass Peter Griffin.
I really am. That's like I have some stuff that's already up for grinding. I'm gonna like literally go cut out some triangles tomorrow and just like make a Peter Griffin.
Nice. So yeah, Abby, thank you again. And I'll put everything in the show description. The one link that you have, your Instagram, and then
I'm gonna start. People have given me some good suggestions, man. Like I start a podcast. They were like, "We'll watch you." I'm like, "Cool."
Oh yeah, people really love passing the time. You know, they need a way something to put on. So,
and I know that's how it is for us. Like, I don't know how we found out that you were doing stuff again, but Danny was like, "Content."
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
I guess people are still finding out that I'm actually alive,
Mhm.
which is cool. So yeah. Yeah, folks. So yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Abby. You're welcome
you.
back. You're welcome back on the show. Whenever, And that's it, folks. I'm gonna end the stream now.
Peace out.
The show is in.